Here, this one's working. This one's working. Ski boo boo. Ba-da-doo.
This is long overdue, Jungle.
And then I get to say, Johnny Lulgjuraj,
What's up?
bam, you are long overdue.
It's been
You're lucky I love you that much because I wanted you because it's been 3-ish years I've been doing.
when you're about to play a soccer game and you get the nervous, tingly stuff
Mhm.
inside your stomach. Well, we usually call those the nervous poops. And let's just say that I'm nervous.
It's okay. We're live. A lot of people don't still believe that we're actually live. So, but it's okay. Like I tell a lot of people, I always get the jitties. And also, like Michael Jordan said, if you're not nervous, it's not important to you. So, Johnny Lulgjuraj, a friend, a son, a father, an uncle. You are blowing
brother.
up in all great ways. And you own that really shitty restaurant down the street.
Yes. Small little place called Oceanside.
that little spot.
Little tiny little place.
I'm thoroughly going to enjoy this because I love you very much, and growing up with you, and it's not just about what you're accomplishing as like business wise, but seeing, it's like you're one of those guys like I'll blow his name up, the Kimball, like you have your beautiful family. People know more probably about yours than his, but I love
the
you.
Grandma posts everything.
Yeah,
and she's mama.
Love Mama. Mama is keeping you. Which is beautiful though.
She's a tough woman, and I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have it any other way. She's been a blessing. Works her butt off. Just taught me, which you have a lot of that heart. Actually, probably more so than anyone I know, and that's why we respect each other on the soccer field. Because this guy's playing with guys who played semi-pro before, high-level collegiate soccer, and you're right there hanging with the best. I mean, this last Monday when our teams actually faced each other, which has been a blessing. That's just that passion, that fight, and I got a lot of that from Mama. She told me never to give up, and this lady. Reading and writing education I think she went to school probably till 3rd grade.
Really
is a story, and long story short, between her and my dad, just respect and hard work accomplishes all, and never giving up. And that's one thing that's how we become successful.
I agree with you. And some of my most favorite moments with you are as we're getting older, when you'll call me and you'll just share with me your goals and your drive. And I just love how passionate and tenacious you are. You're one of the few people that, as we're getting older, that doesn't just complain. You're very active. And for those that don't know, you're responsible for a lot of the proactive things that are going on in Flagler, like changes, growth. You're on boards. You started that FB3, is it called?
The Flagler Beach Business Bureau.
And I love that. Just it's going to correlate a lot with soccer. Just like with soccer, what you do on the pitch is what you expect your fellow teammates to do, and you practice what you preach. But look, before you just brought up Mama, can we, for those that don't know the Johnny Lulgjuraj, can we go from because we grew up together, can we go to chronologically? Can we start with because you have a wonderful story.
Start from high school.
Yeah. And then also too with Papa and the restaurant, and how it Manny's 1.0. Can we go there? Because I feel like there's a huge audience that's they don't know that, but they wouldn't know to ask.
2 and 2 together too.
Is that cool?
Yeah. So my dad and mom started Oceanside, Manny's Pizza from 1989, and I think we sold in 2005. And growing up in the restaurant business and learning from what my dad did, and Mama, even we opened another restaurant, New Smyrna, around that 1999-2000 mark.
Never knew that.
My parents ended up getting divorced early 90s, but growing up in the restaurant business, and just it's amazing what you see and you learn. A lot of people look at restaurant businesses as one of those dead end jobs. Don't go in the restaurant business, and I hear that from parents sometimes too. Or it's really like that 50-50 split. People I talk to don't want their kids ever to go in there because they're worried about the atmosphere, and they're saying that there's a bunch of people that have made mistakes in life, but it's absolutely opposite.
Right.
You learn, and what I learned, I will go back, just touch on myself. Everything and anything, and just dealing with people and learning with people. And, I've been very fortunate. I learned a lot. I thought I was God's gift to the restaurant business. And
when did you start so Manny's was the original, OG place.
Yeah.
It's still the same building, just obviously more.
Yeah.
When did you actually start working there? Like, I'm sure, were you like immediately as soon as they opened,
Of
you pretty
age?
much were in it?
I would say, yeah. We used to spend time after school going and playing with all the boxes in
Right.
the back room. My dad had a dry storage. That place used to be tiny.
I remember.
My where my bar is now. That used to be the kitchen.
Right.
And then behind that would be a bunch of dry storage. And
What can you give me an idea of an year stamp? Like, was it 99, 90?
No, it was early 90s. I remember 92, 93, 94.
So because I'm a year older than you,
Yeah.
but for sake of conversation, you're in first grade, give or take. Because
It
91,
yeah,
I'm in
'cause
first grade.
I
so
went to
you're
Old Kings Elementary.
Right.
Mrs. Marlowe. I still
yes, I
remember.
had her too.
She was unbelievable, and
Yeah.
that whole era. So from Old Kings, and I think I moved to Michigan when my parents got divorced in like 92 or 93.
Did you really?
Yep. And then I came back 99.
Wow, you were gone that long.
Yeah, it was about an 8-year stint where I was gone in Michigan for.
So then you came back for high school, basically in high school.
8th grade, Indian Trails. That's when I met DJ Lafferty.
Never heard of him.
Oh, good old DJ.
Love him. He wasn't there on Monday. We won't get tangent. Well,
No,
miss you. Love you, DJ.
Yeah, his dad is not doing too well.
Oh,
Actually,
man.
He just got moved into hospice, which is
Damn.
something he's been dealing with for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Love to him.
8th grade, DJ Lafferty, moving back and being able to see and recognize people that I actually went to Old Kings with was great too. So I was like the new kid, but I still had some old roots.
Old kid.
Yeah, and my dad still had Manny's at the time, which was great.
Okay.
And actually, right when I graduated is when he's like, "Hey, do you want the restaurant?" I said, "Dad, I'm gonna be a pro soccer player. I don't need this stuff."
Isn't it funny? You regret the things that you could. So you literally did you say no at that point in time? Isn't
absolutely.
that crazy?
I wanted to go to college.
Right.
I wanted to do the whole experience.
I don't
want to
be like you, Dad. Right.
And I was working my tail off
Right.
just so I can make it. And in hindsight, you look back at it, it's like, man, I could be almost retired. If I just stuck with. And it's funny because I've been. I read books randomly. I get into these moods where 3 or 4 months, I'm like, all right, self-help, self-development.
Right.
Let's get motivated. And one of the books I can't remember what it was. It was probably a Robert Greene book. And he talked about generational growth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny that every generation tries to do something different. Like,
Right.
oh, I'm going to be a pro soccer player.
Right.
But your dad's been in the restaurant business. And if you stick to that and you know that,
Right.
you're going to continue to grow and get better, and you strengthen in that area. And anytime people try to divert, which sometimes they do well,
Right.
but most of the time they go back to what happened. And my brother was doing very well in real estate at that time. And
This is Tony.
Yep. Tony was doing real estate. So after I graduated high school, it was funny because he was kicking butt and taking names. I went back to 2004. Yeah, I went right to North Carolina to Lees McRae College in Banner Elk, which is a great few years I had over there. And what was it? 2008, I think. 2008. No, before that. It was probably 2006. It was 2 years into college. My dad had called me saying, "Hey, we got a opportunity for a restaurant in West Virginia." After he sold out, he bought 50 acres or 100
When
acres.
did Manny's actually close? That kind of happened overnight for me. I think I was actually out of the States too. When was the official?
So 2005, my dad sold completely to a doctor out of Orlando. And he had it for about 5 years. And he closed, I think, early September, early of 2010.
Did he keep the name?
Yep, everything stayed the same, and that's where a lot of people confused because even my dad would go in there and eat sometimes. And
right.
Yeah, they thought he was still part, but no, he sold out completely in 2005.
Okay.
And then 5 years later, after the doctor had moved the location to Bunnell, so Manny's closed down officially.
Okay.
In that early 2010. My brother had called me, and I was in Michigan at the time, and this was right when the real estate market, everything crashed. 2009, 2010.
I remember, yeah. I wasn't in the States then, but I remember hearing it was tanking.
It was like everything my family
So
had.
Manny's moved to Bunnell. I never knew this.
Yeah. It moved to Bunnell. And
Where,
even when we opened, right there on US 1, I think you make a left from 100 to US 1 coming from the beach. It was right there on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And the same crew, same cooks that my dad had.
Everyone went.
That they followed suit. He was open for a few years after. Then I think he shut down completely after that.
Okay.
We bought Manny's, now Oceanside, in 2010 of September.
Wait, the building now.
The building, yeah.
Okay.
And
how long goes that now? Because it's flying by. It feels like yesterday still, but
we just passed our 10-year anniversary.
That's freaking crazy, dude. I feel like you guys just did it. I remember when you did it, and I was like, wow.
Going back and looking at those days. Well, here's the thing. I'll never forget. Me and my brother got the keys to the place, and we're excited. And to get the place, I mean, we lost. We had all our investments in property, and we lost our butt. I mean, we really lost everything.
So 10 years ago, we're 2012.
2000. Well, technically 2010. We bought the place September. We opened in July or June. I'm sorry, June of 2011.
So still, we're coming out of a really shitty financial crisis, and you're making a huge move.
We couldn't borrow money.
Wow.
It came to a point to where you really know who your friends are when you call people and ask for money. And I'll tell you what, that mark, I never forget. We were finally, so we got into the place, we got the keys, and we walked in, and it was just like, we're looking around. I was like, what the hell did we do? The place was a disaster. I mean, since my dad had the place, I even think he told me, he's like, hopefully this guy, he needs to remodel, or, in the next year or something like that. Cause things were, of course. And it's crazy seeing the maintenance bill that we do. We have a full-time maintenance guy at Oceanside now because of all the maintenance. And it's when you let it sit for that long and you don't touch it. I mean, it was a disaster. And it's like, all right, well, we started cleaning up, and then we started taking, and then we got like walls that were leaning over. Like, you just had this disaster, and we're like,
what did we do?
And we got no money. Right. So what are we going to do? So, I mean, my brother, God bless his soul, he's a financial genius. He figures it out. And, one step at a time, we slowly started moving. We try to actually get to, they had this beautiful pastel piece tile floor after the layers of carpet and tile. Wow. And we really,
did you ever know that as a kid? It was down there?
When I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute, why does this look so familiar? And then when you start learning more about the history of the building, like, that place was built 60 years ago. Wow. Like, it's just unbelievable, the history. And even in the museum, they had a little article about Mr. Flagler and designing aspect of it. And there's so much history there. And we didn't want to change that round front of the building and just the design of it. It's a mark here. So what we did is just literally start cleaning the place up one bit at a time. And then we ended up just building a whole new kitchen out of it, and just piece by piece. Right. We just kept reinvesting and reinvesting and reinvesting. And, there was one point to where there was like a window, and it was covered up, and it was in the back wall of the kitchen. And it was just like, what the hell did they fill this up? There was like T-shirts that were stuffed in there and little rocks. And, I took a picture, sent it to my dad, and he just started shaking his head. He's like, oh my God. He goes, because he had a partner at that time when he had Manny's, when he first got into it. And then he ended up buying his partner out. He's like, oh man, that was Czar, and he did this, and he did. And it was just so funny. He's just laughing his butt off because he's just remembering all the little, the growth of, because he changed that place a lot too. They're moving the kitchen back, making the dining room bigger.
What was it originally? Do you even know?
Mamma Mia's. Huh. And then before that, before Mamma Mia's, and this is in the 80s, before that, it was a bed and breakfast.
Get out of town.
And
I don't know.
Trying to remember the date now too. Put me on the spot. I wanted to remember that date because it was like built for like Mr. Flagler's cousins or niece or something along those lines, where they build it for like a daughter and son that just got married. Right. But it's really a lovely story, and just the growth and what we've been able to do is just constant reinvestment. And
dude, I tip my hat off to you, because having a place that's just dope is one thing, but keeping it dope is a whole nother. And I'm the furthest thing from a restaurateur, but I could tell you, being a frequent shopper of yours, I love going there, man. There's a good vibe, there's great energy, and the product that you're building it with, like that plastic and stuff, you guys are just you guys are
the deck for the wood.
It's very smart how you did it.
Well, Tony and I complement each other very well when it comes to construction and the materials. From what we went through when we first got in the place, it was like, all right, well, we got these cheaper wood tables outside, right? We did this. We really went the cheaper route because, we didn't really have it, right? Right. And then as we progress, it's like, man, it's like find the money first, invest so that foundation is unbreakable. And then it's so much easier to maintain after that. So after the first 4 or 5 years, then it's like, okay, we're in the black now. Okay, we're finally making some money. Okay, what do we do? Well, God, and all of a sudden the reinvestment for the repairs are just like it's so needed
Right.
to where you literally have a management position, but you're using that salary for a full-time maintenance guy as
Right.
opposed to a manager. And in the restaurant business, when you own the property, you aren't just a restaurateur. No, you're an electrician,
Right,
you're
yeah.
a contractor,
Right.
you literally do everything on a daily basis. Because that salt on the beach, we didn't realize it to where I'm looking at my maintenance, and thank God for Anna, because she's getting us organized and being able to see where everything's going to. It's like, oh my God, we spend stupid money on the maintenance, but you know what? It's clean.
It's clean. It's
I
got
eat there every day. My family eats there every day,
Yep.
and we really don't miss a beat. And I'm so fortunate to where we got some spectacular management in there now too, and especially with the growth with the second location.
Yeah.
We've learned so much.
What's up with that? Can we get into that?
Yeah,
I'm super stoked about that. So that's, you bought Betty's
A1A Cafe in Ormond,
Okay.
Ormond by the Sea, and we closed on it a few months ago, 4 months ago now, 5 months ago, and we thought it was going to be a quick turnaround, but just like Oceanside, it's like when you look at it from afar and you look in the dining room, it's like, man, they did a wonderful job. But then we step foot in the kitchen, and then you look back and their cooler is lopsided and they built it on some weird floor. It's like, oh, God bless America. It's like, all right. So my brother, we submitted the plans to the to and now it's a waiting game. And obviously to build right now in this time is the most expensive than it has ever been.
And weight.
And labor and the wait time. So this hood system used to cost about $1,000 a foot of hood for like a grease hood in the kitchen. And we got like a 27 or 28 foot line back there. And it's just like, okay, well, maybe cost jumped a little bit. We got a bill for like $80,000. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, so this is a much bigger project, and this is our biggest investment we've ever made. But that area, it needs something.
I think you guys are going to do very, very well, man. That location
it can, and it has to. I mean, I'm going to be working there every day, getting my kids involved now, even having them start busting tables at that 6-7-year-old mark to learn how I learn. But, there's nothing better than the restaurant business, man. When you actually get to meet and talk to people, and I've made so many mistakes, but I've also skipped out and kind of got ahead a little bit in life just because I've been able to listen to these 80-year-old couples that are coming in that have been married for 55, 60 years. It's just like, how'd you do it? Talk to me. And you got these guys that run businesses, and when they give you kudos or they tip their hat to you, it really does make you feel good, like you're doing something good. And we tend to try to always do the right thing, and it's not easy. It usually costs more money. It's more of a wait time. It's more pain. But when you don't cut those corners, I mean, it really comes back to
it pays off in the long. Where are you at? Because I haven't talked to you in a minute too, and if you don't mind getting candid, where are you at personally? Are you in a good, like, being someone as young as we are, but in the grand scheme of things, as we're getting older, I know we're there, but we still have a lot of life ahead of us. Have you found a good rhythm right now? Like, do you sleep well? Like, where are you?
Absolutely not.
No,
I'm the most stressed I've ever been.
Honest.
But I'm also the most productive too.
Is it? You got a lot going on from an aerial view, I would imagine. Here you have 3 now, right?
I got 3 boys, 5, 3.5, and 1.25.
And I'm sure your family's growing, because Tony's right next to you. So Tony's on 3.
Yeah, he's on a second baby.
Oh, he is. I always forget. I think he's with this. I think he's caught up with you yet. Yeah. He's on the 2, but still. So your family's getting bigger. I can imagine the good, bad, and indifferent things that family bring. Like when I ran into you the store the other day. I'm not kidding you, man. I came home and I told Camille, I was like, I saw Johnny, but Johnny wasn't there. And it wasn't I wasn't saying that, but like I was like, you were literally like, hi, I need Gatorade. And I was like, and you said one of your sons were sick. And I was like, I can't.
It's like, when are they not sick now? They started school, and it's like every
always
other month.
Huh?
And I'll tell you what, my wife, God bless her soul, she does everything at home. She takes care of those kids. I feel like I'm almost an absentee dad. Right, because I'm on the Flagler County Tourism Board. You
got a lot going on.
Business Bureau president. I'm aiding with a new restaurant. It's just, there's so much going on each and every day, to where you're right. A lot of times I'm there, but I'm just like, hey,
and that's okay. It does. See, I would imagine though, being I know how this world is, and there's a lot of people with expectations and obligations. And look, as well as I do, there's more than I do, meaning I'm sure the days that you happen not to be there and you're there, like, everybody wants to see you. You're the face, you're the star, and it's tough. And I can imagine that it's a woe begone. You're willing to do, it's yours, and it's a beautiful problem to have, but I'm sure it's got to be taxing. And I would imagine that's got to be, that's probably where I have like the most warmth and love for you, because when I get to see you, I know you got a lot of shit going on. And I'm not saying like all negative stuff,
Yeah.
but even great things, even if it's a birthday party tomorrow or 5 birthday parties over a weekend, I can imagine. You're doing it though. And I mean this with all my heart, man. I am mad proud of you, because I said this a few years ago through my own situations. And that was people that would kind of get mad at me if I was not present in this. And I would just say, look, love me alone. And I love you alone. You know, you don't owe me anything. When I see you, I suck you up, and I when I can, I enjoy you, but I also, you don't owe me anything. And I love actually watching you when you don't know I'm watching you, so to speak, whether it's at the restaurant or even when I see you warming up at soccer, because I'm just proud of you. I'm proud of you as someone who's known you before I've had pubic hair. I'm proud of you because I know I mean this with a lot of love. With my own stresses, I know God puts us all in positions that I think we can handle, so to speak.
Absolutely.
I couldn't do it. I'm so like having the no. I mean, but just knowing this much about the restaurant business, that's all I know. I tip my hat off to all those people out there, the Chris Marlowe's, the Kimballs, the Scott and Pauls. I mean, the list goes on and on. And having a staff of more than one, you know, like I can barely manage myself. I give you guys so much credit that you're employing people, giving them a way of sustainability and livelihoods. And the people that are working for you are so happy and so proud. I mean, Anna's a pure definition of that. And same thing. I think I agree with you. There is a negative connotation, and I think we grew up with it in the later 80s, early 90s, that working in being a server or a bartender, and the irony, or it's like, you were told as a kid, like, don't be you don't do well, you're gonna be a trash man. Well, they don't teach you. Those are the ones they make great money. Yeah. There's no shame and in any employment, in my opinion.
Listen, any job, you're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
And you know what it goes back to? It goes back to attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they say attitude is everything,
mm-hmm.
It really is. I could break down and I could just be a negative piece of shit if I want to. And I got this problem, I got that problem. But listen, we all got problems. Yep. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know this person's going through. But at the end of the day, everyone has their own shit. And it's crazy because if you ever look at the definition of respect, and I did, and it kind of is like, oh, okay, that's what it really means. And it's really about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And if you just have that attitude, man, where it's just like, look, I don't know what that person's going through. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to respect them. Hey, you need help? Ask for it. I'm here for you.
Right.
But if you have this, I'm just sick and tired of everyone just bitches and complains about everything.
Well, I think here's what I just read. I read a little mini doc on Bruce Lee the other day. And I'll be the first one to confess that I think people that are putting their bodies in a position of athleticism, you have more of a realization of your mortality and your limits. And we do that a lot. And I'm doing it a lot. And I'm realizing more and more that I'm not what I used to be. And that's okay. But here's what I've learned. I'm my worst, and this is anything paramount, we'll all do it, but I'm my worst critic where, if I feel like I'm getting a little fluffier or this or that, and we all do it. We say it to ourselves. You may say it to your companion, like, babe, do I look like shit? Like, I don't want to do, and I've learned, and the excerpt that I was reading from Bruce Lee was talking about how much power there really is in the tongue. And once again, none of this is supposed to be some paradigm shift of thought. Like, we all know this. We've been taught this. But lately, in the last coming weeks, I've been more mad at myself where I'm changing my tongue for myself. Where, like, even if I know I played like shit yesterday, I don't wake up today and go like, I played like shit yesterday. Yeah. I may know it.
Remember your good things.
Right.
Remember the good things you do. You have that positive attitude. And look, positivity literally breeds positivity.
You're right. When
I go in the restaurant, sometimes I've made this mistake so many times where, I get in there and you can see, when you're not just working the line, you can literally see how many things are out of place or out of whack.
Well, you can.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's my role. And I'm like, hey, do this. We got to do this. We got to move this around. Got the caddy, the salt shaker is supposed to be on the right. It's just all these little things. But in the grand scheme of things, like, man, it's so tough if you nitpick each and every day, it brings people down. So what we're trying to train ourselves is, hey, be positive, find the good things they did. And more and more people will kind of grasp onto that positivity and find find the stuff that I see that's out of because they have more pride than for the job. They're more positive and energetic, and it sucks. It sucks when people just have that cancerous negative attitude. Like someone's going to have it always happens each and every day. Someone comes in with a personal issue, and then they start complaining about, oh my God, the servers from last night never did this. It's like, listen, if I critiqued you your whole shift and did this and did that, it's not your job. Get here, get the shit done, and do the best you can. That's it. And if you have that's a winning mentality, because what's going to happen is this: you pick up other people's slack, you have a good attitude. Now I'm looking at you like, oh my God, if this is consistent over time, and that's the biggest thing, is the hardest thing. And even growing up too, I'm the guy that I wanted to skip 10 steps. Right. But every time I did that, it brought me back down and grounded me and say, look, if you skip this many steps, you're not going to understand each and every little, that path moving forward is just, it builds the character and just learn. And it sucks, but it takes time. And when you give that consistency and that good work ethic and that attitude, and you're doing good, you end up being a leader, whether you like it or not. And you're put into a position of growth, and then you're put into a position where monetarily you want to be compensated more. And it's that winning attitude, to where if you're negative, and I could have critiqued my shots were terrible on Monday. I couldn't shoot the ball for the life of me.
None of you guys could, thank God.
Yeah, I know. And it was just like, but when you think positive, it's like, hey, God, my fitness level felt great. The ball movement was great. Like and if you do that each and every day with your life and your wife and your kids and your work, it's just like, man, more good things start to happen. And that's my biggest thing right now, is just being positive, man, no matter what. And stop saying no. When I go to these commission meetings at Flagler Beach, and I stress this to all the commissioners, and I'm like, man, why can't this be a warm, open meeting, to where you really want productive people to come out to these meetings? Well, we got to change our mindset, right? We have to be, and it has gotten a lot better. Definitely has gotten a lot better over the last few years. But I want it to change quickly. But again, I have to go back to that mentality. Look, it takes time, and let's stop. Anytime I give a complaint now, there's usually 3 solutions that accompany with it. Hey, if we want to do this, well, here's how we can do it. And that's why I've got so many attentions of all these politicians. I'm talking about from our former governor to our state representatives to our local county, city commissioners, our congressmen, because I'm respectful, and I approach them with, hey, look, we have this major issue with all the businesses in town, but here's some solutions to go with it. Can you advocate or give me in touch with the right person for this? And I'll tell you what, they welcome you with open arms, like, oh my God.
If you don't mind, what are some things right now that are on your heart and on an agenda that you wish more, and let's just be Flagler about it, like Flagler centric, that are some things?
Communication. The number one problem that we have, even in my business, but with our neighbors, with the city, is communication. There is no easy way to push a button to make everyone aware, especially like Starry Nights. Starry Nights is one of the best things to come to our area. Why? Well, it creates positive economic growth. It creates positivity in town.
For those that don't know what Starry Nights is, what is it?
Starry Nights is a new event that runs almost 2 months long. And all it is, and using Christmas, which is not just, it's all the holidays. During the holiday time, we light up the beach. The pier is being decorated as we speak, and our light up is this Friday at 6 o'clock. It actually starts, or the lighting ceremony for the pier is at 6. 5:30. It's our first Friday. Vern Shank, host of Flagler Beach Radio, is hosting it, and we're basically lighting up town. Veterans Park, we have 8 different chairs of our lifeguard chairs that have been sponsored by businesses. We have 2 residents that are captains. We got James Sherman on the south side, and we got Amanda Vale on the north side, and they're kind of competing with north versus south. Flagler Strong, we donated a chair to, and they're going to do a wonderful tribute to Caleb. He's a lifeguard that got hurt. And then we got 5 businesses. We got Funky Pelican, Oceanside, Beachfront, Turtle Shack. What's the last one? Beachfront.
Is it Tortugas?
And Tortugas actually gave their chair up to Flagler Strong. What am I missing?
So what we're doing is, because last year was the first time doing it, right?
And Nick Kimball donated all the trees.
Came in huge.
Absolutely.
So we're going to keep this going. So it's almost like another version of St. Augustine's night stuff, right? Like we want our businesses to put lights up, etc. And it also starts to drive a purpose to go check it out. And also, so Veterans Park has the chairs, which I didn't even know.
Yeah.
That's
So Veterans Park, as of Friday, all the chairs are going to be there decorated.
Nice.
We're going to light them up at that 5:30 mark.
This Friday.
This Friday. And it's exciting because it's something that's going to bring about making it safe too, because with the new variants out there for COVID and all this stuff that's scaring the shit out of us. It's just something that you're going to be able to bring your kids instead of going to all these other places. Like, I'm trying to bring something home that's just like, man, when you drive over that bridge and you see businesses lit up and you see resident houses that you can just drive up and down the streets. It's just that wonderful. It brings good, positive energy, man. And that's what I'm all about right now. We need that. That's our town. You go through all the hurricanes and all the crap we've been through. And, that's one of the things that it's disheartening, because we've been through so much these last 5 years. And I feel like a lot of our neighbors and a lot of people really closed up, because the people that live on Central, on the South Side especially, they had thousands of cars each and every day when A1A is being rebuilt. They were the
new A1A.
And it sucked for them. And my heart goes out to them too, because, man, like, that it just makes people like, now we're looking out the window, and then we're just looking and we're complaining and we're being nasty to people. And then 2020, then we had the Trump election and Biden election. Everyone's just F you. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, listen, we agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, what's our core? We're human beings. And a human being, to me, literally, I'm the kind of guy that if I see you on the street and you need help, I'm there for you. I'm going to help you. But I'm going to watch my back too, because I don't know if you're a mischievous piece of crap, because there's a lot of negative, nasty people out there too. But listen, at the end of the day, if you're human and you need help, we're supposed to socially. I mean, that's what made us human beings, is because we can interact, we can talk, we can choose to help, or we can choose to fight. But at the end of the day, it's just so much fighting. I'm like, why are we fighting so damn much? And the thing is, hold on, we're fighting, but we're doing it just verbally. It's verbal assaults each and every day, and it's online. And it's like, there's no way to get that aggression out. So when you fight someone online and Facebook and you're just that keyboard warrior and you're going at it, there's no way to get that nasty negativity. So you carry that weight on your shoulders and you're walking around. Then you're in Publix and you someone bumps in your car and you're, hey, watch out. Like, it drives me crazy, because what happened to that? Like, I feel like so many people are just forgetting the big picture here. Look, we're human beings. You got to know that there's some kind of God out there. That there's what happened to that faith, that positivity, that help. We're missing so much of that. And I'm glad that it's a slow process again. It's starting to come around, but it's still, I'm like, come on, man. Like, hold on. How hard is it to really just choose to do the right thing and respect people? And if you love Biden, if you don't like Biden, who gives a shit? Hey, you respect the office of the president. That's the way it is. And you know what? Next 4 years, if you want to change it, go vote. Or in 2 years, or actually, was it this year, 2022? Midterms are coming up. Like, at the end of the day, it's stop hating on each other, stop fighting, and get a little bit more active. Trying to get more people to go to these city meetings. It's like, why am I going to go there, Johnny? I'm like, well, there's a number of reasons why you want to go there. You actually get to meet and greet these people that are running our town. And the more people they see and they hear your side of just, hey, I'm a human being, I live here, what can I do to help? I mean, those are the conversations that I want to start hearing, especially from our generational group. And it's just hard because, when I first got there, I'm shaking my head, because you got the same 7 people that go to each and every meeting and they say the same thing. Hey, we don't want growth. We don't want this. We don't want that. Why is this person doing this? Why? Everyone's just nitpicking the shit out of each other, as opposed to, hey, give your real feedback. But how can we stop saying no to where, we can find a common ground? Like with the whole 4th of July thing that came up passionately, I was like, what do you mean you're taking 4th of July away? Hold on a second. Our freedom, our independence, that's what's America. And now we're taking the celebration of freedom away on this beautiful pier. It's something that's been a staple here forever. And I'm personally connected to it, and I love it. But on the other side of things, like, man, I'm not the only one that lives here. I'm not the only one that has a business here. I shouldn't be considering myself someone special. So I try to look at those other residents that, hey, they don't want all the traffic. They don't want this. And I'm like, well, guys, let's find a compromise, because that's what I feel like.
Where are we actually at right now with that? Because I can't seem to get a clear.
As far as I know, they are doing 4th of July at the pier this year.
Okay.
And that's a great thing, since we had 2 years without it. And I think the new community has brought up a number of issues that these are just problems at any event during any holiday weekend that we're always going to have. Unfortunately, being a beach town that is having fireworks, we are something that's sought after. But I just feel like no matter what, we can always figure out a way to do it safely. And, when I spoke to chief of police and county sheriff, and when I first got involved in it, they look, we can handle it.
Right.
It's cumbersome, but we can handle it.
We can do it.
And that to me is, all right, if the citizens of Flagler Beach want it, why wouldn't we do it?
Did we go to a vote? Is that how we work?
No vote. And that comes down to communication. And it's something that FB3, our business bureau, I'm trying to figure out, getting feedback from everyone. What is our next big project? Every year, Flagler Beach Business Bureau picks a project and we go after it. First year when we officially got together was at 2019, when so many businesses were closing down because A1A was being reconstructed. We got a billboard up to drive traffic. Then we started making connections and meeting people, and then we started Starry Nights last year, which was our first inaugural. We had 2 months to put it together, and we actually got a phenomenal response.
No, I couldn't believe it.
Now the TDC's jumping on board again. Now they're investing more money because it's such a great thing. Now the businesses are getting more invested, and it's growing. And we want this to be that staple event. And the magnitude of 4th of July that happens all on one day. Right. Well, we're spreading that out now over 2 months to where we get that residual traffic, and we get people coming in town, and we get that positivity to where I want to start the New Year's off right. I want to start New Year's off running and just get our town back to that. I want to be able to go up to my neighbor's house, but hey, can I borrow a cup of sugar if I need it, kind of thing? Because that to me is just helping each other out, instead of, oh, neighbor's having a party next door, I'm calling the cops, or what is this guy doing over here? I'm calling the city, or what? It's just like, holy.
You guys got super hammered. We did too, but that south, because of A1A was more messed up on the south side, and I think there's still a lot of. It's funny how fast time goes by, and like you forget about what but those that have been through it. I mean, dude, we almost flooded in the last we had that tide like a week or two ago. I got photos that literally almost came up again. So when you're dealing with it, it's hard to see past it. But yeah, you guys got south side's, it's tough with that A1A. You guys went through a lot, and especially even you. I felt my heart was really sad for you.
15 feet away, that
A1A construction.
Was
I would go over there. I'm like, dude, it didn't bother me because I knew you, and I wasn't going there, once in a blue moon. I was like, oh, but dude, I mean, you guys were open for business, and you had those dump trucks and all that right there. And I'm like, man, imagine if I was
outside patio to where that looks, and that literally is the most sought after patio. And it's so busy, and when they're using the street blowers, and which look, at the end of the day, we understand it's construction, it has to get done. It just, as we're going through it, it sucks. It sucks to where it's like, hey, can you just coordinate and communicate with me? And these federal agencies, man, they can tell you to F off, and there's literally not shit you can do about it. Right. And I remember having those conversations to where they parked the dump truck right in front of the business, and it's like, I understand, but can we just let me know when you're going to? So, because what happens is this: I start putting out. I can stop seating my patio. I can, but it comes down to communication. The communication chain is so broken, and even with Starry Nights, so many residents got upset, or even businesses last year, because they want to get involved. They want to sponsor. It's like, well, who do they go to? How do they reach who's in charge, and who's in charge? And there's so many questions, and that's the biggest thing. I just want to find a way to communicate, because even Facebook now, and there's so many different things that are being manipulated and censored, and which, look, at the end of the day, I don't know why they're doing it or what they're doing, but if there's something going on in Flagler Beach, there has to be a better way that each and everyone knows about it, because there's so many people that don't really care about technology, and that's unfortunate too, because sending mail and trying to get everyone to a certain time, or if there's an important meeting to go to, not too many people are really aware of what's going on. And the city manager, God bless him, he's going to start some kind of newsletter or something. So look, every month when you get your water bill, there should be something in there that's a bright yellow piece of paper that, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's on the agenda, or these are our goals. And hey, if you have any feedback, please email us here. Or one way, just send a mass text out once a month, something that just help us communicate. Even with Starry Nights too, it's like,
do we actually have a specific rhythm of the dates and time of those meetings, or are they always different?
Yeah, so the thing is, you have to go on the Flagler Beach City website, and
but they're not static. They're not like every third Wednesday of the month.
No, it's every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks Thursday, I believe, is our
every second Thursday.
Second Thursday, fourth Thursday, something along those lines is looking at the calendar. It's usually every 2 weeks,
And what's the title of that? Like, what's the title?
It's the Flag the Beach Commission. It's just a commission.
And anyone can go.
Agenda. Yeah, anyone can go. It's open. And to get things on the agenda, you usually have to send an email over to Penny or talk to one of the commissioners, and they can give you a better process of how it gets done. But yeah, just to really know what's going on in town. And like I said, this last year, it has gotten a lot better to where it is a little warmer. And I'm even like, let's donate coffee and donuts. So when people get there, because I feel like a town hall or a city meeting, like, that's where you really get people together and like-minded people. And that's where I met some wonderful people to help. They jumped on the business bureau, which, listen, we're not asking for money, especially with Starry Nights too. A lot of people are like, how can I help? I'm like, decorate your house and have your neighbor do it.
Right.
Literally, if everyone just did that, our town would look immaculate.
Right.
There's a lot of people that need help though. And it's just, how did those people get the help? But it literally is like, hey, if you go to across the street, you just look at your neighbors and, hey, do you need any help? Because there's a lot of, even Shannon from when she was stolen Swillerbees, she just texted me this morning, hey, Johnny, I got a lot of decorations, a lot of lights. Who needs them? So right away, I'm trying to text everyone. But, you know, it's just hard to communicate. But we started starrynightsflagler.com. They can go on there and join the forum. And we're just getting everything rolling right now. But if you do need help, you should be able to post on there. And anyone in Flagler Beach can see
business or resident.
Yeah, business or resident. They can go there and they can get the help or ask for it. And it's like, why not? Like, why would you not want to decorate your house for for 2 months too, as opposed to usually people put up a week before, taking about a week. No, we're doing this all the way through January too. It's cold. You got beautiful night skies out there. And when everything's lit up, and even my house, every year I'm trying to build and do a little more. And, you know, it's so nice to actually look at it and be like, oh, okay.
I would hope almost all the businesses, I hope. Have you ever made contact with the guys that run the Jamaican spot? I haven't met them yet.
Island
Vibes or Island Eats.
So on the north side, usually between me and Scott, we're only a 2-man show. So literally last year I went door knocking, and this whole week I've just been on that. Hey, what's going on? And I don't know them personally, and you know, as a president, I should know everyone, right? Yeah. But unfortunately, it is what it is. To where I'm usually making phone calls, and I try to reach out. I leave my name and phone number, and
I've heard good things. I haven't been there yet, and it looks like they're still going.
Now I'm going to stop by on the way back.
Go ahead.
Just reminded me to
stop
do
back. And then do you have any idea what's going on with the building next to Lion? Any news?
Nope.
Me neither.
I know they changed hands in the last 6 months, and I don't really know
what would you think could actually work there? My business sense, which I don't have much of, but I would say no restaurant. I don't think a restaurant's going to work ever there. You got the Lion.
The parking is a crap show. Listen, having a nice salon, anything along those lines. I feel like retail, we're pretty good on retail. Any customer service based entity, you go in there, whether it's again some kind of esthetician spot, nail salon, anything with beauty, or even I would love a surf academy in town. Right, we have Flagler Surf Shop, but anything, you're right there on the beach. It's a great space. I'm really into education now.
Huge in there.
Yeah,
golly.
I mean, God, I would love. Z-Way's been there forever. I feel like they could have expanded and go somewhere like that. Would be great.
You don't know who owns that building, do you? Me neither. It's massive though. Every time when I would go in, I always was like, good Lord. I think that's the biggest thing, is that whatever the rent is, it's got to be up there.
Yeah, usually real estate offices, but I feel like some kind of, I mean, it's such a great beachfront place, and you need some high dollar traffic, you know, to have even smaller retail where you're selling some t-shirt stuff. I don't think that's going to work for that. You need something that is more that service-based entity.
What can Johnny talk about his opinion or with the hotel, or you want to?
I'm looking forward to something nice.
Are we still doing it? Because I can't figure it.
They're supposed to break ground this next year, and that's going to be. It's going to be annoying through all the construction and whatnot. Right. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, between that and getting our beach redone with the beach renourishment project, which is funny.
When does that actually start?
So there's like 3 easements left, I believe.
Okay.
And one of the guys that we've been working back and forth, he actually just wrote me a nice letter, because I was just like, hey, what the hell are you doing, man? So you don't understand. Like, you're holding up this project. It makes no sense why you're holding it up. Literally, if
you're talking about them bringing in the sand from outside and bringing it up, is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking the beach renourishment project, to where they're going to be extending our beach a little bit, and you know, because after all the erosions for the last 6 years, it definitely needs it. And out of all the easements, there's 150 plus easements, and you know, we're down to like 3 people. And I worked on one for a long time, and they just signed, thank God. And then this other guy who's now selling his house instead. I'm like, bro, sign the paper. Like, it's not going to affect your property value. You're not losing anything. It's literally, if there's a storm or if there's an accident, you give us permission to come on your property, dump some sand. Is that okay?
Right.
And everyone's scared. And look, ultimately, I hope no one was lied to, but when I talked to our county attorney multiple times over his last few years, Carla, look, we're all on board with this because it's not going to change our view. Everyone thinks
you needed people. Goes back to the people that had houses on this area.
A1A property owners.
So there's still 3 that haven't.
There's still there. I think there were 4, but 1 signed. So I think there's 3 left. 3 parcels left that they have these contracts or these easements to sign. And it's not taking their property away. It's all it is. Sign this, and it's going to give us an opportunity to come plant some vegetation and refill with sand pretty much when we need it. And
we can't move until those 3 go.
We can and we can't. We can and then just go through the process. And you have these money hungry attorneys that when they sell people on this stuff, and they're doing their job, but I feel like it's almost like ambulance chasers. They really aren't. I go to Dennis Bear. Dennis Bear is one of those people. He lives here. He's always been a pro advocate, pro Flagler Beach, anything to protect Flagler. He's given up a number of hours to, and just free legal advice, and just to protect our town. And when someone like him, I'm like, look, you surfed your life here. You have friends, family, kids growing up here. Like, do you agree with this? He's 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so for someone like that, and he's an attorney, he's reading all the fine print, he's going through it. He goes, Johnny, we're putting sand on the beach. We're making it to where we have a beach still, especially after what happened.
Can you play devil's advocate for a second and tell me why? Like, why would you not?
Why? To lose their view. So when they plant vegetation, and so go to Oceanside. So I don't own that easement in front of myself. And if I did, I would have been worried. But when I did contact an attorney, I'm like, hey, what would be the reasons? It was if they plant vegetation that grows 7 feet and I lose my ocean view. So think about it. If you came to Oceanside and you can't see the ocean, there's not going to be an Oceanside there no more, right? So that is the number one issue that people are scared of because they're worried about vegetation going and growing, and they're going to lose their view. And that's this guy, Lenny. I'm like, Lenny, like, look, they told us they're going to plant anything they plant is not going to go over 2 feet. And if it does go over 2 feet, I said, just ask them, can you go and cut this shit down?
Now, are they giving that ease, those that do, because not everyone does own it. That's just some old, like, grandfather in shit.
There's over 150 parcels that people have owned, and every one of them signed it except these last few people.
Now, does that give ownership away? No. Or is that just giving someone access to do shit on it?
It's just like when you have a telephone line coming to your house, you give them an easement so they can come work on the property when they need to.
So it's not giving the rights away of the property. You're just allowing them to work on it.
You're allowing them to work on it when they need to without coming to ask every time for permission. It's like, hey, look, we need sand here. We need to dump some more rocks here.
Because Southside's way worse as far as like you guys are going first.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just the way it is. It's just so interesting. I remember that aerial view when it was incredible because you guys
so random. I feel like how it is because some days our beach looks phenomenal. I know. And then after this nor'easter that just came through again, it's like
the water was like
I literally, when that nor'easter was here, my kids we ate at the restaurant and I just walked them across the street just to look at the waves. And as soon as I got there, wave hit the rocks and splashed and got me. I didn't get soaked, but I was like,
yeah, it's crazy to think.
That was scary. My biggest fear has always been that ocean coming up.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's time to where we need to do a better job protecting our beach. And look, the feds are we got all this money to do it, but now you have some stubborn people that are scared, and people have used fear and these attorneys place this fear into them too, or even social media.
Right.
And, I feel like now it's coming down to money. Some of these people just probably want to get paid and say, look, well, you're going to pay me, which Carla Klein, GoFundMe, we did a phenomenal job on that.
That was crazy.
Raised the money. And, unfortunately, some people did get paid for their easements, which, it just, listen, at the end of the day, I'm glad it's getting done. I don't feel like we had to do it. But if we didn't, we wouldn't. I think Army Corps of Engineers would have moved on, but they were like, holy crap, you're telling me that they raised this much money and this fast to get this? All right, we're going to hold on the project and we're going to give you the opportunity to. Right. So, I feel like we're at the very last segment to where we were supposed to start on this project this year.
That's what I thought.
and it's a slow process. And it's even to the point where I asked the attorney, I said, let's start it.
Right.
And when these people come to the door and they want to complain, I said, what judge in our county is going to look at this and say, hold on a second, you're telling me that you're not going to let them plant vegetation to secure your property? This doesn't make sense. I don't see any of our judges, and I know a few of them, to where they're going to be like, I don't see there's nothing wrong with this. You're just looking for a payout. And you know what? They're not going to get it, and they're going to get the property taken away, because I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that happens. Because look, you're wasting so much time and money, and if they take this project away from us,
it's in hundreds. I thought it was like 27 mil or something.
It's God bless America. I think it was over 150 million, but it's over 50 years.
Right.
So they're going to maintain our beach over the next 50 years.
Well, we need it, and it's fun. Like I said, a lot of people, no joke, that with that king tide or northeastern combined with the king tide, I didn't even leave to go. My grandparents still on every Friday, and I didn't want to leave because I'm like, it's not about even evacuating more than like, am I going to need to put shit away?
I mean, 23rd Street right there on that Flagler Avenue, this wonderful old couple every time. And I feel so bad because, the first 2016, when the hurricanes were coming, we're driving through there, and listen, everyone was flooded at that point, but I felt so bad. They're sitting outside and they're just like, slow down.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't realize that.
So this last time, I'll tell you what, I was inching through there because I seen the little old lady. She looked through the window, and I feel so freaking bad, because at the end of the day, that's the problem. Even if I'm in a rush, you kind of have to put yourself in other people's shoes. Because if that was your house and you have literally the water was like 6 inches from her doorstep, and she's just outside, and I'm just like,
no one gets that though. For those that don't know what Johnny's talking about, when you're basically in a flood, and people, what was happening here, it happens here. And when the water is that far away, and then people are
driving, because they have big
trucks,
especially
the construction worker guys, they don't give it. And it's fun to go through the water fast. And bro, some of my neighbors were out there and throwing rocks. Like it will amplify the water feet into the.
It literally was pushing water into their homes, and it's just like, but again, how do you communicate that? And that's the problem, is everyone is so closed off nowadays. And if we were all just a little bit more neighborly, to where we actually have those conversations with each other, and regardless of your political stance, listen, at the end of the day, we all have to live together, no matter what.
Well, look at me, right? So I'm like an anomaly, because I don't have too much interaction with negativity, which is rare. I'm super blessed in a perspective where I couldn't. That's what I'm saying. I tip my hat off to a lot of people out there that are met with, whether they're called customers or people, it doesn't matter. When you're dealing with a lot of people, there's going to be a higher probability and a frequency of people that are angry. Yeah. What I've noticed, and I'm not here to change the world, but I can say what's worked for me is really trying to focus on the 6 inches in front of your face. And what ends up happening for me is that I used to be a guy that allowed the world to affect, like I had to save the whales. I wanted to save the kids. I wanted to do this. And it can be a large burden. And I wanted to save the dunes for the longest time. So now what I do is I pick up the trash that I see. I protect the dunes that I live near. Yeah. And I feel like if everyone just slows down a little bit, which has helped me a lot, and focus on your 6 inches, then it's a compound effect. Because what ends up happening is my 6 inches turn into 12 inches because you're doing your 6. And instead of feeling, because one of the things that I love about you, but it's probably a big kryptonite that we all have, is you are a shaker and a mover, and you are a thought provoker. And what ends up happening is you want to address and fix things that that are not right. But it can be tiring.
It's taxing, for sure.
Exactly. And you're doing fantastic, but I can tell you, those that are out there that the next thing you know, it's just like it's like they talk about the old parable about like making your bed first. Yeah. And like if you start it with that way, and it's so funny, Johnny, because we grew up with all of these sayings spoken to us in kids' books and songs,
attitudes, everything, and all this stuff.
And then we get to this point, and we're at this is it. Like we're at our peak of the best. From this point forward, it can get better emotionally and in our hearts, but our bodies are going to start going this way, and that's not a bad thing. But now is the point to sit there and hold on to self-preservation.
What's the most important thing,
Right.
right? And it's deciding on what's your priorities in life. What do you really want to be in? Self-reflecting, and it's the hardest thing to do, because here's the thing: everyone is Jesus now. Everyone just looks and judges all day
Right.
long, and they don't want no one to judge them too. So it's that double-edged sword to where I'm trying to ask people and having these one-on-one conversations. Like, look, stop judging you. Stop judging everyone. Just
Right.
focus on yourself. And I look at it from that management perspective for my employees. It's so easy to talk about, oh my God, well, this guy keeps doing this, this, and this. Or as a server, I'm doing everything. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. And I'm like, man, if I wanted to put a magnifying glass on you or let's look at 4th of July, for instance, when you put a magnifying glass on anything, you're going to find faults. Nothing is perfect, right? Nothing is perfect. So at the end of the day, why are we so negative to the point to where you just want to find people's faults and exploit them? And that's not where we should be.
Right.
At the end of the day, you focus on that 6 inches in front of you. You help people the best you can. Focus on yourself. And if you're not right mentally, and I go back to this, something my dad taught me a long time ago, which I think the airlines might have just changed it recently, but say you're traveling with a kid and the oxygen masks come down, they always tell you put the oxygen mask on yourself first before helping a baby or a child. Right. Why? Because if you can't breathe, how can you help anyone else? And I've taken that to heart, because look, I want to make sure physically, mentally, I am where I need to be, so in that way I can help so much more. Because look, if I'm feeling like shit and I'm stressed out and I'm negative, I'm going to tear my wife down, my kids down, my employees down, and you're just spreading this cancer. And bro, get that cancer. I say get the poison out. Right. And it's funny because my general manager, Dan, who's been a blessing to our establishment,
bro.
We now try to play tennis or some kind of competitive thing once a week.
Right.
And I call it getting that poison out. It's just something to get this aggression, all this built up anger, stress, bills, inflation, politics, all this stuff that just eats away all day long, and all this fear-driven nonsense that every single day it's like you're going to die. It's like we got hurricanes coming after you, got COVID coming after you, got the red or the blue side coming after you, and it's just like you're in a defensive posture all day long. And I feel like I got this knot that's in my back, and I'm like, the only way I get that out is through some kind of physical exertion, right? Whether it's tennis, soccer, running, working out, gym, video games, anything along the line to get this competitiveness. Because before, look, 15 years ago, if me and you were at a bar, say we went to Finn's, and this happened at Finn's before, to where we disliked each other by anything, listen, we fight, we're over it, we're hugging afterwards. But we can't do that nowadays. Right. And nowadays, it's like you do anything, you look at someone the wrong way, now you're going to jail, now you're in trouble, now you're in this. A lot of those times, though, you were able to really get that aggression out, and you've learned from it, because if you did something wrong, you disrespected somebody, well, you found out very quickly why you shouldn't disrespect people. And we grew up just at that perfect time to where I learned very quickly. When I would disrespect one of my brother's friends, I would get this open hand smack to my face, and from my brother normally, but if I did it to anyone else, I'd be like, holy crap, I shouldn't say that ever again. Right. If I disrespected my mom, a teacher, a police officer, you learn very quickly. Nowadays, you can get away with anything, literally get away with everything and anything now, because, well, your feelings got hurt. Well, listen, at the end of the day, we're coming to this point to where there's so many people that are becoming violent. And the scariest story, you hear about the shooting in Oxford, Michigan? Mm-mm. My wife's uncle's son.
Oh, wait, no, it was like yesterday.
Yeah, it just happened.
The little kid, the 15-year-old kid.
Listen, I had 3 people I personally known that went to that school, texting their dads, I love you. Damn. I'll get emotional real quick about this. Seeing the nasty shit that kids and people are going through. And as a father, my kid ever sent me a text like that, there's an active shooter in the school. I love you. You're the best dad. I'm going in there guns blazing and finding out and protecting my kids. But how do we get to this point? Well, these kids, these people have no way to get any of this aggression out. We're human beings. We were meant to fight and to grow and get better. And nowadays it's like anything you do, even in sports now. And I'm so worried. Like, I don't know what to do with my kids that are growing up in sports, because everything is so soft. Everything is so, don't do this. You got to wear headgear for this now, which, listen, a lot of it makes sense, especially in football.
Right.
But man, it's like teaching these kids when they are getting upset and their feelings are getting hurt, how to get rid of those negative and nasty feelings. And I'm so fortunate with soccer that soccer gave me everything in my life.
Mhm.
It taught me how to respect people. It taught me how to work hard for what you want to get.
Yep.
It taught me teamwork, which is essential nowadays. It taught me all these great things. But also, my mom wasn't going against the coach saying, you need to play more. You got to play my son. No, your son has to freaking earn it.
Right.
And I think parents are opposite. And 10 years ago, right when I opened the restaurant, Mama, I call her Mama too. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
So you go to the restaurant.
No, it's
Soccer.
Yeah, it's soccer. Right here in Flagler, she's the president.
Susie? You're the
No,
mayor?
No,
Who?
not Susie. The Flagler Beach soccer.
Becky?
Becky, Mama Mitchell.
Oh.
God bless America. Mama Mitchell asked me to.
She's gonna kill you.
Oh, listen, Mama, I love you. She makes the best lasagna. But look, it was like she asked me to coach, and I'm like, get involved. And I'll tell you what, I'm like, all right. It was my first time coaching ever. I'm so excited.
Right.
I don't have kids at this time. This is just me, business owner, working my butt off. I got a little bit of time. I'm like, give back. But I'll tell you what, these parents, my kid needs to have fun. He's here just to have fun. I'm like, your kid is 8 years old now, almost 9. I said, this is the most important time of their lives for their building. If they don't learn how to work hard and what the sport's all about, they're going to fall flat on their face, and then they're going to get more depressed because now they're not accomplishing anything. The whole participation trophy, which, I can agree to disagree, right? Both ways. We're teaching these kids, and the parents are making their kids so soft to where, I get worried, and I feel like all this the mental health crisis that we have, and I feel like that's more of a crisis than anything, more than COVID, more than everything right now, is we're not teaching our kids mental toughness. We're teaching our kids to question everything, question your superiors, question the law, question the teachers, question. It's like, hold on a second. They're in a position for a reason, and we're supposed to respect their position. And even myself, getting pulled over, I'll tell you what, I open all my windows. I'm on 10 and 2, even though I know every cop in town. I know everyone. They know my truck, right? But at the end of the day, when they're pulling me over, yes, sir, no, sir. Hey, if I may, give me a ticket. Because at the end of the day, that's how it should be. You got to respect the law enforcement. Teachers, too. If they're telling your kids doing something wrong, listen, there's some bad teachers out there. There's some bad cops. There's bad human beings in general out there. But what happened to teaching these kids? Because I'll tell you what, if my mom ever had to come to a parent-teacher conference, she looked at me. She gave me that death stare that, look, you better straighten the hell up, kid.
Right.
And it worked. You know why? Because I learned about respect. I do well in life right now because I respect people, and I just work hard. And I don't bitch and complain about everything bad that's happening to me. Yeah, I'll talk about it sometimes, but it's finding solutions to move forward. Even the guys that were yelling at the ref on Monday, it's like, you're not going to change people's decision and minds. When they're in a position of authority, they also have to learn, right? And when they make a mistake, they can't just change their mind every single time too. It's just, we're humans.
So this is how I feel. All these emotions and feelings that you have, one of the reasons of many why I love you is that when I see you coexist amongst humans, you make them feel important. You love on them. And it's deeper than just being a concierge of Oceanside. I see when you're walking, if you get to walk around and you're loving on people, Johnny, I love you. And I'm telling you, no matter what's going on, I'm a peer of yours, not a superior. I'm telling you, you're doing it. You're doing a fantastic job, brother.
Well, feel good to hear that. I love those praises. I love that recognition.
You need to understand, but
at the end of the day, I love people more than anything.
Do. But what you're by byproduct of what you're, I think that you need to give yourself a couple moments, a few more moments of peace, not in this moment, but in general, because you're doing it. You are an example of the change that you're looking for.
But you know how much haters you get from that too.
Come on, Johnny. I literally wear girl clothes. You don't think I got? I've had people that have taken it upon themselves to corner me at public environments and say to me that the show's stupid, I'm stupid, you're an idiot, you're the whole, and you saw the sign. Did you see the sign on Monday?
Oh yeah.
It was all fun and games, but like you shadow my haters because listen, the fact that you're servicing, let's just make pretend, I don't even know numbers in this business, but let's just make pretend you had 10 people eat at your restaurant today, right? Which is a joke. It's one tabletop for you. You've got the probability of one of them hating you and the color of the floor and the smell that your server's wearing. Come on, dude. It's a list. But and that's just work shit. Like we're easy people not to like anyways, because aren't you a billionaire? Right? It's saying must be nice. And it's, I get
that must be nice. That is one of those daggers.
But here's what I want you to know is that as a brother of yours and as someone who's going to get old and gray with you, and this is going to be home forever for me, no matter where we travel and go, I'll always be home. I love you. And I think that don't let it be too debilitating to you, because you are a byproduct of the change you want. If today were your last day and all you had was going to be your compound that you've built, your home, your four walls, it's there. And that's where it starts. And listen, Johnny, it is permeating. It's happening. People beyond the haters and all that, even if all you did was, fuck your job, the restaurant, all the change that you brought to Flagler, if all you did, which is a still great thing, but if all you did was birth 3 dope, those sons are better looking than you.
Oh yeah.
Jeez, they're going to be stud
they look like
muffins.
Mom, they got some great.
So you got 3 dudes, right, that are going to have this. They have your that love, that tenacity, that passion. And look, I'm telling you, this as well as I do, and you've helped me out through a lot of my without even knowing you've helped me. Just keep doing what you're doing.
It feels so scary. And you touched on one of my biggest personal projects that I've been starting, and it's just slow to get traction too. I worry about my boys. I worry about, one, I'm not as home as much as last month I have been, since everyone's been sick. I've been so worried about the environmental changes, because look, at the end of the day, I can be the number one dad in the world. Right. I can give them everything. But if they hang out with Joe and Susie and Bob and this and that, and they're getting a lot of these bad habits, and they're hanging out with the wrong people, which is also a parenting thing that we have to look out for. I worry about their mindset, the mentality, and it sounds stupid. I've always thought that I was going to die young. I don't know why, it's okay. but it's just one of those things to where
we got to stop talking like that, though. Well, no. I say the same shit, and we got to stop saying that.
So what's motivating me now is this. I have on my board, I have a beautiful blackboard at home, and I wrote down literally everything that I wanted my kids to learn from me as a father before I pass away. And how do I do that? Right. And so I wrote down, respect is a huge one of them. Family and your name, your word, girls too, because I got 3 boys. So trying to go through and, I've interviewed 5 different videographers. Not one has gotten back to me yet. And I'm like, man, did I do something wrong? Did I offend somebody? But, it's hard because I have this project and I'm like, I feel like it's so needed to be said, but I could give a shit who looks at it and who loves it or not. But at the end of the day, it's everything good that I feel like a boy, or as he grows into a man, should learn. And, I have a shot list of, I think probably about 40 people that I put on there. And actually you're on there too, just to go through and, I want to interview them and ask them questions like, hey, what does this mean to you? Right. Talk about money, like the things that can make or break a man or a human being in general right now is what I'm trying to develop. And, I'm so close, but finding the right person that's passionate about it. This is something that I want my boys, and then hopefully when they have kids one day, to be able to see, hey,
this is what my dad stood for.
Yeah. And so much of it is so common sense, it's not biblical, but it comes down to just respect, man. Because if you go back to it and really understand what it means, and if you apply that term to anything, whether it's relationships, whether it's finances, whether it's your work, you can always get ahead with that. And it's so lost nowadays.
It is.
I was on a flight real quick from Nashville. There was a couple soccer teams on there. It looked like they just won. And you got to think, remember the bus trips from when you play team sports? It's loud, it's fun. Right. But there was no respect on this flight. And I'm talking about, thank God I had headphones
Right.
on, and I wanted to get up and be like, hey, where's your parents at? Like,
Right.
because at the end of the day, look, walking around on a plane and that kind of stuff, I'm talking about during landing, kids are walking around and the flight attendant, hey, sit down. It's
Right.
just, and I'm like, where the hell's the parenting? And it's like,
Right.
parenting is so non-existent now to where so many of them, and it's not a lot of their fault. They're working two jobs. Mom and dad are both
Right.
working. They're relying on the school systems to educate them. And the problem is a lot of these educators aren't really following they're putting so much of their personal opinions
Right.
in now to where it's like, look, education is supposed to be pretty straightforward. You have these building blocks that we're teaching our kids, but they're giving them so many different values that really shouldn't be taught in school because they're not that traditional. Like, look, teach people or teach kids how to look at all sides, but respect, not, oh, we're going to fly this, or, even the Pledge of Allegiance. Like, to me, why would we ever take something like that out of school? You want to teach these kids that, look, when it comes down to business, if we ever had to go to war, you want to fight for your country or where
Right.
you live. And I would stand up straight and pledge allegiance to this flag, United States of America, because I saw what my parents went through. My parents came here 13 and 15 years old, don't know how to read or write. How the hell can they make it? My dad was telling me he lived in boxcars and trains and just random shit to get here. And God, he was able to, you're telling me he could work and then build a business and being a pillar in a community.
Right.
And he was very close with our former mayor before, and just, during all the fires that we had here in the 90s, he's there. He's the only place when everyone else is evacuated. He's delivering pizzas to the flight department. Like, bro, it means so much. And
Well, look, now not to interrupt you, but watch this. In parallel with what you're saying, you're doing it. And look,
trying.
I feel like you have my disease, and it's called anxious idiot syndrome. And we all have, like, those that are shakers, movers,
yes.
thinkers. It's a very big deal. And I'm not kidding you. If it wasn't for, and rest in peace, but if it wasn't for Matthew Robinson, who I used to talk to
Chewy
on the daily, he used to say to me, and think about this. Matt would say this to me now, which Matt's been gone about 8-9 years. Think about this. We're still young pricks now in the grand scheme of things. You talk to those 80 some odd year old people that have run 10, 15 restaurants simultaneously. They'll laugh at us.
Like,
yeah. They're
like, you're going through something hard now, kid. You got no idea.
You know what polio is? Like Matthew was saying this when we were 20 nothing. And he would say to me every day, Johnny, and I want you to know that I will do this for you. And always, you do this for me without even trying. But Matt would say to me verbatim, when are you going to stamp yourself successful? When are you going to relax and chill? And I'm not saying this to you more than I say it to myself on a daily. And look, here was a 20 nothing kid that had, for some reason, it's like Matt knew he was going to like die. So some weird, he was everybody's best friend and was like omnipresent. Everybody. My point is this.
He respected everybody.
But you do too, Johnny. Yeah. And you are a powerful creature, but you also got to realize that and I'm not trying to teach you anything. I'm learning with you. We're not going to change the world. I've come to the conclusion at the ripe age of 37 that I ain't changing the world. I ain't saving the world of AIDS. I ain't saving the whales. I'm not going to be able to feed the kids in Africa. I got to do me. And I'm not saying selfishly, but I can focus on, but you're doing it, Johnny. And I'm telling you.
I'm going to agree to disagree with you there because you know what? I will change the world.
No, you're changing it, but you did. You are changing the world by consequence of your kids. No. You've done when I promise you, as I see these kids grow up, they're going to exercise honorable principles. And I'm telling you, like, I remember one day when the dunes were falling apart and people were trashing them and going up and down them. I lost it in front of your restaurant once. And I learned I had to go to a really deep place one day when I was seeing it happen on my morning routine. And I saw people destroying the shit out of them. And I literally went to a dark place or a quiet place. And I just felt in my heart, like it's their earth too. Yeah. So look, if we want to believe in peanut butter, there's got to be the jelly. This shit's got to happen. I have hope in humanity though.
Yeah.
But I would say for you and I and people like us that can have anxious idiot syndrome, which being the fact that you're a business owner, you got enough woebegones to begin with. But I'm proud of you that in your quiet time, Johnny, you are you're doing it. You need to realize that. If there's one thing that comes out of today's show and our relationship and friendship, I love you like a brother, is don't be like me. Do not, you got to sleep. You got to chill, because I learned that the hard way. And look, at the end of the day, I said it a million times and it's not even that cool anymore, but it came to me through a lot of prayer once. And it said, when the ringing inside of your ears becomes music, when everything beyond your ringing in your ears, it's extraordinary. And we say that word so fast, extraordinary. It's not, it's extraordinary. Ordinary is breathing, involuntary movement. Breathing and moving and seeing and all that you have, that's extraordinary. And you're doing a great job. You really are.
That,
and I know you feel the weight on the world on your shoulders, because you're making change. And I'm not, don't misunderstand it for anyone listening or even yourself. It's not about not changing the world. It's just not trying to change what's not, you can't see, and you're doing it.
Do you know, I was in the music business before Oceanside.
I remember that. Yep.
And my best friend, and his name was Mark Nikolai. He was the most talented singer songwriter that I've ever known, ever had to deal with. And it's crazy because I've always been that guy to push people to be their best. And it's unfortunate because not everyone has that passion, that fire to really go after it. And it's just funny how the world is so balanced, because you have someone like me that I can't sing a tune for the life of me. I can't play an instrument. I remember in like fourth or fifth grade in Michigan, you got to choose music class, or at that time I didn't feel like they had anything else to do. So I would just sit inside with these two other girls who couldn't play instruments either. And we would just like do one-on-ones with the teacher. I don't even know what we did. But then you have those other people that have that just, I mean, they can belt and they can just, I mean, I remember sitting in the studio, this kid would just start writing out.
This guy, Mark?
Yeah. Just unbelievable. We call them hooks, the choruses for the most part, and just comes out of them. And it's just so funny to be able to see how we truly all need each other. I mean, and that balance to where there's very few people in the world that are going to outwork me. I feel like that's the only thing that I've ever had in me, because I never had the talent, even with soccer. When it comes to the touch and the ball movements, I've had to work so hard and just day in and day out. And even in college, I started as a freshman, new coach came on, and as a sophomore, I started riding the bench, and I was like, what the? He's like, well, Johnny, you don't have a good touch. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, I just started over senior last year, new coach, new vision. But I'll tell you what, I was there before practice, and I'd be working. I just kick the ball against the wall all day long just to learn and try to get better, make myself better, and also to prove, like, look, I can be the best. Right. But if you don't have those people that you can work with and have those good, solid coaches and leaders and parents that can, give you, it's hard because you have to have your own self-confidence. Self-confidence is probably the most important thing for people nowadays. But I think we're doing a poor job as those parents and those teachers and those just everyday citizens or neighbors to help push you in the right direction just by being genuinely happy. You're probably one of the few people that appreciate the success that my family has got, right? And I'm that person to where if you won the lottery, I'm not going to be the guy that's going, oh, look at this guy. He's, he doesn't deserve it. I'm the kind of guy that when you do something great or when you win something, I'm like high-fiving you on the way to the top. Hopefully I get invited to one of your yacht parties, right? But for the most part, it's just like, why not?
But Johnny, check this out. And we're growing, we're learning together. It's funny you bring up the lottery, because I used to joke about Matt was like the only dude that I knew at that time I could call Matt and tell him that I just landed $1 million contract, and Matt would go, I'm taking you out. Yeah. Right. And that's rare. But look, I'm telling you, I've been saying this now in the quiet of my own home and my own woebegones. Life really just isn't that serious. And I'm not trying to remove the romanticism and the duty and the honor and the love that what we should have outside of the four walls. But look, when you really slow it down, that's been my biggest thing lately, is just slow it down. Because really, at the end of the day, if you go to a tribal perspective about it, you are going to have to buck up harder than me. It's a fact. Literally today, because of the path I've chosen, I have ceilings, meaning that I don't have to run into, like, you're going to run into good, bad, and indifferent today. Your fires, though, are blazing way at a higher temp than mine. Mine are, like flame has different colors. Yours are, without a doubt, yours are at a high blue. That the hottest part of the fire is this blue. I can guarantee you right now, there's probably either figuratively or literally or both a fire at Oceanside. 100% guaranteed. Somebody's quitting. The kitchen's on fire.
I had 2 call outs on like today.
And boom. And how you're able to do that, I could tell you, it's mind-boggling. How you can today, if one thing goes out of whack, I don't have that capability. But here's my thing: as we're growing together, and it's been a minute since we've talked to each other, don't forget how great you are and how great things are. Really, I just think what's happening, from my own little perspective of what I see and feel from you, is that don't let that shit take you down, because it's not. When I see you, I'm telling you, I've never once heard you complain in public, ever. And all the times I run into you, and whether a public or private setting, you keep your shit to yourself, which is beautiful. That's powerful. Today, you've been very vulnerable in your sharing, which is beautiful. That's the point of the show. It's like there's no agenda, it's just 2 people talking, and I love you. But you've taught me how to sink my teeth into the meal in which I have today. And I feel like, don't just do what Matt said, man. When are you going to, like, unfortunately, it took Matt dying to me to actually eat, like, slow down. And I know you do.
Chew your food.
I know, and chew your food. I know you do. I'm not preaching to you. I know you do. I know, in the privacy of your own home, you bury your head in your kids' faces, probably the most. I know you do, but that's all that matters. And don't forget that you are. Someone taught me when I was super young too. I would sit there, and we're very similar. When I was younger, I was like, why is not everyone trying to build something? Why is everyone just come on? And a great man once said to me, like, if it wasn't for people not wanting to do those things, then no one would want to even work in general. Now, you and I work hard. But, a lot of people don't maybe realize how we got here. Wasn't by just doing nothing. But there are people that don't want to put in 15-hour days for 5 years straight. Yeah. And that's the thing. And like, make sure, and you're doing it, please, for me, slow down. I love you so much.
Do you know, instead of slowing down, I think the one thing that you touched on right before you went into this little spiel is we need to laugh more.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what? Laughter, and because I used to remember watching these comedians, and I'll tell you what, there's nothing better. Even my dad used to watch Three Stooges all the time. Right. It was just something that this life is very short when you look at the grand scheme of things. And even when I talk to these 80-plus-year-olds at the restaurant all the time, and their thing is, you got to enjoy life. You work hard, you play hard, and you love and respect all. And that's like my tagline now: work hard, play hard, love everybody. Because why not? Right? If we do that, and you don't take life as seriously, which it's a great concept, because look, shit happens each and every day. Someone's going to get in a car accident. Something's going to happen. A water's going to pipe. You got a hole in the wall. Anything. Shit happens all day, every day. How you react to it is your personal choice. Right. And I wish we could laugh more. I wish that this whole political shit show that we've had over the last few years, I wish people just stop being so damn defensive. Feelings are great, but feelings and just feeling all the time without any logic is absolutely useless. You can be the most passionate person in the world, but when you let your feelings control each and every decision, you make some stupid decisions. Right. And it's unfortunate because not many people understand that, and they're just like, hey, I feel this way. It's great. Step back from your feelings and look at the whole picture. And then, like, man, if you start joking about some of this stuff, like I remember growing up, it was great because we would make fun of each other all the time. Right. Your group of friends, if you did something stupid, right, you got called out for it.
Well, they say real friends talk shit in front of your face. And
you laugh, and it's fun, and you get better, and you grow. And it's just like, and even a lot of these controversial issues that are going on now, so many of them can be solved by respect and laughter. Look, who gives a shit who you like, who you date, who you vote for, who this? Because at the end of the day, we all got to coexist. And why not just do it from a happy place? Why not be able to have fun,
You've
talk
seen
shit,
Patch
and
Adams,
receive
right?
it? Yeah.
Thank God. I met someone the other day I hadn't seen it. I was like, oh my God.
Actually, I kind of want to rewatch that.
I will say though, never, I won't spoil it. But Patch Adams, man, it's a true story, and it's true, and it really is. But look, life isn't that serious. It's been my biggest slogan lately. And I'm once again, that doesn't mean that I'm going anarchist, don't pay your bills, fuck the police.
Well, and
like
that's
I ain't doing
people,
that.
And people take that one little tagline you say, and they're going to go off on
my definition of my reflection on life isn't that serious means that I've seen, as now that I'm getting older and going through my first, and hopefully actually it will be my last massive, like that big injury that I went through. I had never seen such a correlation between my mental state and my physical state. We've heard it since we were kids, stay positive and but now that like we're kissing middle aged, I've realized that, like, no joke, if I woke up and I was woe is me and fuck my knee and I was listening to all the people tell me you shouldn't be playing anymore anyways. What are you doing? You're older now. I remember specifically, it's not only a biblical term, but it works in real life. I rebuked it, man. I was like, no, I'm going to somehow, some way, even though I had no idea how, but I saw my body heal. And to this day, the physicians that I saw, the friends that I confided in, they still can't believe that I healed to the caliber in which that I did with what was affected. What on paper, what I had should have taken this much longer. Yeah. Now look, it's not because of me. It was my mindset and my belief. And look, you got it.
You're like a monk, bro. You close your eyes and you can heal. Yeah. But that's what it comes down to, a positive mindset.
But it's hard to exercise, Johnny, and you know that. And that's,
I just don't understand, why is it so hard to choose to be better, be happier?
It's a great question. And
or choose to laugh. When someone makes fun of me about something, hey, Johnny, why are you so short?
Okay, we'll put it
right. No, I know. Right. Instead of like, oh man, look, there's shit that you can't change, right? You can't change a lot of things about your life. But at the end of the day, who gives a shit?
Johnny, I could tell you this. It's a great question. I think that at the end of the day, it could always be worse. And I think that there's a lot of people in this world that are going through shit that I wouldn't put my worst enemy against, whether it's physical elements, whether it's financial, whether it's all of it, whether it's, I mean, you and I both know people that have had things happen to them that you're just like, how in the world why do these things keep happening? Yeah. I mean, I can look at the Grimes family, like back in the day when we were growing up and losing a daughter in a car accident. So we won't go off on too much of a tangent about all that happened. But I remember as a young kid going, what the fuck is going on? But here's my point. There's this, at the end of the day, we are a species on a planet that is spiraling, and we're just here. And I think people that are able to, I use this analogy in my own personal time, but you got to really disconnect from the matrix. You have to, and I'm not here to change anybody. I'm changing myself, and I'm told, which is a blessing, and it's the most priceless commodity known to me, is when someone takes upon themselves to corner me in public and they say, I want to be like you. I say, thank you. I go, but listen, you don't even know what I got inside of me. But what I try to emulate is joy and peace and slowing down.
Build people up instead of breaking them down.
Absolutely. But it's a compound effect. But when there's sincerity, there's a fine line between needing and wanting. There's no such thing as both. My hypothesis on the only human creatures that are allowed to want and need simultaneously are children. Yeah. And I don't know what it's like to be a parent, but I do know what it's like to be a child, and I can want and need my mom. Because the minute you as a human being, if I needed you because you were my employer or my biggest customer or this, there's not real true sincerity there. Because the minute you cut that off, or I have expectations and obligations on you, that's where the division begins. So I think what you're screaming out for, as I've always screamed out for, but now I just emulate it and I keep it to me, just me, is that I just want. I've built, thank God, and it's not much to say because I don't have much, but I've built a lifestyle off of needing nothing. And that is the thing. That's the shift. That's this. that's the eureka moment of going, oh, wait a minute. If your best friend doesn't call you today, or your companion doesn't want you back and leaves you, and or that someone dies, well, buck the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I think that, and either it's going to happen by choice or it's going to happen by necessity.
Yeah. Everyone learns when they fall on their face.
100%.
When they hit rock bottom, and they have two ways to go. They go further or they lift themselves up. And you know what? It sucks because you really don't learn. I'm talking about hundreds of conversations, if not thousands, over the past 10 years with different employees, and just giving them, oh, I lost my girlfriend. I don't have nothing to live for. I'm like, hold on, what? What'd you say? Like,
there's a lot of that.
Let's go back real quick, because you choose how you react to things. And if you just choose a different direction, or, a lot of people do the same thing, expect different results, which it never happens.
Right.
And it's just be better. Try. And if you don't know, ask. And when I was at Full Sail, when I finished my degree over there, we had this one speaker that came in, and a powerful woman. She came in there. She was one of those few in the industry early on, and being a woman in the music industry, if you weren't a singer and you were a business person, you got shat on. And she just, hey, I don't give a, she would say, she goes, just ask. And my very first real salary job was a manager at Wing House. And
I think I remember this.
It's so funny because I always loved that corporation.
Right.
It was a great concept, and going there, and how I got my, I was the highest paid assistant manager ever at that point in time, all because I asked up front, or when we did the negotiation, like, all right, here's your salary.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you know what? I never forget what this lady said. She goes, just ask. If they say, hey, go fuck yourself, or something like this, all right, who cares?
Yep.
And what I teach everyone is always ask. Because at the end of the day, if you work for me for a long time, listen, I got 85 employees on the most part. If I have that many employees, a lot of times people get overlooked, and it's unfortunate. And I never, ever want anyone to feel that way. But I make myself so open to where it's like, look, if you feel like you deserve more, you better go set and ask. Yep. If you don't, I'm not going to respect you as much as I normally would. But if you have the audacity to go through, because when you ask, we learn something.
Mm-hmm.
My responses aren't always, sure, yeah.
Right.
Sometimes they're, hey, let me get back to, let's circle back. But when you ask, but you ask the right way, because a lot of times people don't know how to ask. And I like to educate them. Like, look, you don't ask for a raise. Tell me that you're getting a raise, or else it never works out. You say, hey, what can I do? I want to learn more. I want to find a way to make more money. When you ask me, I'm like, I know that they're serious, as opposed to, I do everything around here, and I do this and I do that. And again, because when I put a microscope on your magnifying glass, I guarantee that you're not doing everything right. Because normally those people never get overlooked. If you ask for what you want, you can always get. One of my biggest and the hardest things in my personal life is when my wife, I say, listen, anything you need, you ask. And she put me in my place one day. She goes, hey, when you're at Oceanside and you're walking around, you see something needs to get done, do you just do it?
Right.
I said, yes, ma'am, I do. I'm sorry. But look, when you ask, I will go over and beyond to make sure it gets done. If you don't ask for what you want, then it must not be that serious. And some people have so much of a hard time being confrontational. It's not a confrontation. We're not fighting. A confrontation to me is like, hey, I got a problem with you. We're going on it. But look, if
I was talking about that was Ferrari. Remember Mike Ferrari?
Yeah,
I love him. He's doing really well, by the way. He's doing really well. Oh my God, that's an example.
Actually,
of
he was one of the first friends that I remember from Old Kings a long time ago.
Such a great guy. For those that don't know, the beautiful Michael Ferrari, he doesn't mind me sharing this, but for about less than almost 10 years of his life, he's been in and out of cancer problems. Some of the scariest things at a very young, healthy stage of his life, he's been riddled with bullshit. But since May of this May, he's been, I think, clean bill of health. He hasn't had to go to every other day at something, and he's been on the craziest thing. Long story short, him and I were talking like 2 days ago, and we were talking about traveling, and he's in the midst of I won't blow a spot up, but he's going to be doing some traveling soon. And as you travel much, and I was like, no matter what, I always ask for an upgrade. Whether it's airfare or hotel. And most of the time I'm going into it already with the best that you could have. Yeah. And I'm already like, hey, you got, and 99% of the time I get, and even if it's a bottle of champagne for no reason, but I see what you mean is there's no harm. And asking for
when you ask
a better
respectfully,
situation or a position.
and the thing is, when there's so much opportunity, there's so many things people are willing to do, and
Right.
it's a conversation starter. And again, some people are really busy, they're going to say no, F you, and that's it.
Right.
But when you ask, and it's crazy because again, I was the youngest. It wasn't because I was the best manager. I had still so much to learn.
What year was that? I think I remember hearing about. I don't think I was here though.
Yeah, it was 2000, and it had to be that 2008, 2007.
You're good with years.
It was right around that time.
Was it in Daytona?
Yeah,
they must have just opened.
I opened up the new beachside location.
I was gonna say because that was like new. I remember you're talking about, and when you pull into Daytona off of 95, it was right there on the right. Yeah, I remember when that opened. I had never even heard of it.
I didn't open that one, so I opened the beachside one. But yeah,
there's a beachside one.
Yeah, right there at the Ocean Walk.
Is there really? Yeah. Oh, like by Bubba Gump's and stuff?
Yep.
Is Bubba Gump still even there? I don't even know.
I haven't been.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been down there in a minute.
But yeah,
I see what you're saying. But that's still. But that's what's cultivated you to be to this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well, it's just not being afraid to have a conversation, and that's where I learned so much. A lot of times, and Carla Klein, I use this example because it makes sense. We're planning Starry Nights, and we're on our we have our calls on Thursdays, and I was like, man, how will we do? Because last year was like blue and white. That was going to be the colors and all that. And I'm like, okay, so it's all uniform, unison. All right, that's what we're going to do. All right, everyone, let's do blue and white. And then this last go around, it was just like a month and a half ago. We were talking about it again. And she's like, how about if we don't want to do blue and white? And I'm like, she goes, we're so eclectic and funky and this. And I'm like, and usually me, I'm the leader of the Flag Beach Business Bureau. Like, oh, hold on a second. Oh, what do you mean? You don't change my mind? But I love that. When you question something and you do it the right way, you know what, Carla? You're absolutely fucking right. You should be able to do what you want to do respectfully. Right. And that's where it came down to where we don't have a color scheme. We're Flagler Beach. Do it. We have pirates hanging off houses. Right. We don't have HOAs here. And that's freedom to me to be able to show off what you want to show off. But again, keep sex and religion out of it kind of thing, and politics and just like the dinner table conversations, right? You never talked about politics. You never talked about religion. You never talked about, that kind of stuff, because that's very personal and passionate, and there should be privacy, which nowadays there's no privacy. But it's just one of those things to where I'm glad that people understand that. Look, it's ask, what's the big deal? If you're closed off though to the response and it's my way or the highway, no. And that's where I think I've just learned over time, because when you see all these mistakes that happen and you're able to reflect on that, and I think that's one of my positives, is that to where, look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm going to own up to it. I'm going to still fight though, because I'm a fighter. I'm going to keep going until you have those people that, hey, they're just being respectful. They're being nice. Even if I get pulled over, that's one of those things. If you're just a rude, nasty cop and you're coming up to me and you're, treating me like a criminal, which, look, I did break the law. You pulled me over. I'll never forget, I had a state trooper in Michigan. I was coming down and she pulled me over, and she was a sweetheart. And I'm talking about, it was the nicest. And usually state troopers, there's no conversation. They look down on you. But I'll tell you what, I'm like, I had a smile on my face when I got a $260 ticket. Right. And I would just appreciate it. I'm like, you know what? I'm more than happy to pay this. I'm not going to, because one, I was doing something wrong, but you also treated me like a human being. And it sucks because with all the shit that's happened these last few years, they're being made to be such bad people. Right. And I'm like, man, there are bad people in every industry, in every neighborhood, and all over the places. There's nasty, wrong people, but you have so many that are so good. And I feel like we're forgetting about it. And the news, if there's one revolution that can happen, it would be go after these news stations. I can't stand. Listen, I watch CNN, I watch Fox, I watch them all.
Why are you watching that stuff?
Well, I just feel like
you got to turn that off.
But how else are we supposed to get any kind of news that's going on in the world? So
that's what's going to drive you nuts.
Well, and here's the thing: is
have you ever seen that funny meme? They're like, hey, "Here's how you save the world's problems. Turn it off."
Well, if you turn it on,
I don't blame you for being aware of it. Plus, it's a conversation piece, and also there's a lot of customers that probably come in, and it's good to know. I know what you mean.
You see, I'm interested because this is how. Because how do you communicate to the masses? You're going on Facebook, you're seeing shit that is not real half the time. You're on Instagram, you're on Twitter. All this shit is just so much opinionated bullshit. I'm trying to find facts. Where are you supposed to go for facts? I always thought it was from the news because you had the Walter Cronkites of the world that were professional, direct, and just give you factual based information. But now it's like you can pull a fact out of your ass from one different study that was done. And all we're doing now is finding the most dramatic way to get people to watch. And you know how they're doing that is through fear and
Right.
fear only. And that's the worst thing in this world right now because, again, I try to look at all sides. So people are like, why are you watching CNN? Why are you watching Fox? I'm like, listen, I just watch whenever I do get time to watch. I'm just kind of looking just to see what's going on. But now it's like you have these two polar opposites, and all they're doing is making things so dramatic and so hateful and so nasty and turning every single situation, making it worse than it ever is. And I feel like every day I'm going to die. Every day living in the United States, I'm going to die from something. I'm going to die from riot and looting. I'm going to die from racism. I'm going to die from this. I'm going to die. You're going to die from all this shit. So I just feel like everyone's so pent up in a defensive state to where, like, look, there's not as much going on as you think or feel. And when people really embrace that, there's a lot more people that when you actually need help, there's a lot more lovers than haters out there. And I keep trying to push that fact to where, look, if you're really going through some shit, there's so many people willing to help you. Mm-hmm. And hey, look, if you don't ask for help, though, you're not going to get it because there's a lot of people that are way too prideful, which I admire that. But also on the other side, you can't be so hateful on those other people that have something because there's a lot of people that, hey, they were born rich. God bless them. There's a lot of people that had shit and they worked their way up and grabbed something. There's some people that are just in absolutely terrible situations that may never get out of it. And it is what it is. And that's what life is. But I just look at it this way. I always go back to how my parents were treated. They were treated like piece of shit, garbage. They used to call them, some bad words. And they're in Detroit and Hamtramck and they're just, working and grinding and figuring out. But if they could make it out of their situation through hard work and respect, a lot of people, not everyone, because there's some people that are just in absolutely shitty situations. You live in Compton, you live in the hood somewhere. Even we lived on Centerline for a long time. And that was, listen, you live in bad areas, you do what you got to do to survive. But at the end of the day, when you try to just do good and stay good and you have that good head on your shoulders and you just, so many people look for responses. Sometimes when I do go out, which is very rare nowadays,
I don't think you ever go out anymore.
No, sometimes I go on my binges where I'm like, you know what? I just need to get out. Well, I'll call you. Usually bosses in cars.
I know.
We grabbed Adam that one day. It's just random. But when I do go out, there's always someone that's looking to pick a fight, though. It's all about how you respond. Right. And look, if I want to get into a fight, it's pretty damn easy. Anyone can get into a fight. But it's like, what good is want to come out of that? Mm-hmm. Don't disrespect people. Do the best you can. It's like, God, this life, it could be so much harder if you want to be. If you want to be great, you just, when you're that happy, positive person, no matter what the hell you're going through, you can get it. You can, what's that Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith in there? Mm-hmm. Look, at the end of the day, you have to grind, man, and you keep that good head on your shoulders. There's going to be a lot more supporters than you feel like. There's going to be a lot more people that are like, damn, that's just a good guy. Mm-hmm. And that's what I aim to be. I just want to be a good human being to where, my name means a lot to me. What I do and what our family does. My dad always, hey, look, you don't lie to someone to their face. When you shake their hand, you look them in the eye, it's supposed to mean something. And coming from our cultural background, being Albanian and or European Italians, literally same concept to where you respect people and your word is your bond kind of thing. And you do the best job you can. No one's perfect. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life. And I want people to just try to.
You're doing it. You're doing it. Your children and your family are a representation of that. And like I said, I'm telling you that what you got to make sure you're giving yourself some success. You better.
I do. I'm
saying that out of love. I'm not saying do it. Course. I have to do my own. It's very hard to turn off the bullshit. It is. It's hard. But I'm telling you, if you don't at some point realize that you're everything, all the change you're looking for and all the things you're saying from someone who's known you for close to 2 decades, I'm telling you, you're doing it. I love you.
You got to live by example. My kids, and I'll tell you what, they soak up and literally I will go over and beyond just to make sure they see me doing something that I don't want to do. Like, listen, working out, like I said, to get that frustration out, I do a lot for myself. But when my kids are home, I purposely will spend an hour and a half. And I'm talking about, I'm sweating and I'm working hard. And I'm really just trying to show them, like, look, You have to. And now they're getting
Who's the one
motivated.
most like you?
Goodness.
Or are they all like their dad?
You know what? They have such a so Luca, my oldest, is literally a 50-50 split between my brother and myself when it comes to more of the he's just like Tony with, hey, it's his way or the highway. He'll figure it out. But his that dedication and hard work, like with soccer right now, he goes after
the photos.
He's just
Where's he playing? In Ormond?
Yeah, he was playing Ormond.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, we spread him out. I had him in Ormond.
Squad.
Tony had his kid in Flagler, and then I was going to try to get my middle one over to Flagler Elite.
Okay, that's
I think,
Tiffany.
or Florida Elite. I'm sorry. Florida Elite. I'm trying to spread it out because I want to see the programs and
see what's
Mama Mitchell's probably mad at me too because I didn't bring my kids to Flagler because I'm like, look, I'm trying to see what the best in the area is.
I saw your kid school the whole squad though.
Oh my god, and it's even to the point to where I might start a futsal team for my kids. I want something
in your backyard.
Yeah, literally, if I have to, just try to start something that. Early on, I felt like I fell short in technical skills. I've never had a coach with amazing technical skills.
I've never been a technical player.
But to develop that, the Messis of the world, the best player in the whole world, he came up through futsal. That touch, the way he moves the ball, his body language. And there's teams in Sanford, there's teams in Jacksonville. And I'm like, man, if I can get 8 kids together that are in that, under 8, I'm like, I could have.
How old is your oldest now?
5.5.
Wow. It's happening.
So I'm passionate about that because I want something. I don't want my kids to have to go through what I went through. Was, hey, usually because there's not too much money in soccer, right? A lot of these programs, a lot of parents nowadays too, they don't have it to be able to really invest what it takes to invest.
Right.
So these kids are starting so far behind. You look at any of these European clubs.
Oh, dude, they start
the kids the kids almost get paid at a young age.
All right.
Everything's paid for, travel expenses. In America, it's absolutely different. Like if your parents can't afford to put, God, I'll put a rough number on it, say like $10,000 a year into something like that, they're going to be behind unless you have the Coach Sawyers of the world, which was a dad that took his son and a group of kids and made them stay together, play together.
Right.
But what happened? When that happened, we had a nationally ranked high school team. He won so many championships. It was such a great thing. And it sucks because you have to have those people that are willing and dedicated to do it. And I'm trying to find that different approach to where, look, if I have to start something, or if I have to find a way to get more money to these wonderful programs like the Rec Leagues and Flagler, which I want to do, but it's hard. I have a lot on my plate too. So it's like, what can I do? And, it stinks.
How old's your second one?
3.5.
And then the one, he's a toddler, like baby. Your third one? Didn't you just
third one? Yeah, he's already climbing and he's already kicking the soccer ball. Luca, Leon, Dom. All full names.
Dominic?
No, Dom.
Dom. Wow. What were the reasonings behind the names?
Short and sweet. Our last name, man, Lulgjuraj.
Lulgjuraj.
It's a long name. And
how do you is it pronounced that way in Albania? Is it actually Lulgjuraj or is it?
There's different variations. Lulgjuraj is like.
Oh, okay. Boom.
Like a strong.
I figured it was always something.
But Lulgjuraj, mess with me, going to lose your eye.
Ooh, I like it.
I used to get picked on all the time. That's another thing. Bullying.
Oh man.
Sucked back. I got bullied the
Bro,
majority.
I was bullied on Monday, bro.
Oh. Oh man, I ran into Ricardo hard that day too.
What a game
that was!
The game ended 2-1. All the games are like 12-3, 12-4, 6. When that game ended, I couldn't believe it. It's like a real football score.
That was a great competitive.
I really thought you got that last 5 minutes. I thought because I had taken myself out and I was it's torture because I was like, we're gonna get score. You guys had like 18 corners those last 5 minutes, and your goal, your assist to that dude was amazing. It was smart too. That was like what Liverpool did to Barca that one time. They did that quick corner, but dude, I could not believe.
It's funny when you get older. When you get older, you see everything. You can see your body doesn't move like you want it to move. So I'm like, I'm trying to make a pass here, and then it's like, I'm like, what the hell? My legs are like getting heavier.
That was your guys' best game all season.
I would say that
had to have been.
We played well.
You held us to 2 goals, and you guys literally. If it wasn't our best defensive player was our crossbar. That guy hit. I think it's his name, Mike, with the ponytail. Holy shit!
Yeah,
he hit that thing like 2 or 3 times. tank. But yeah,
It was a great. You know what the best part about that game is? Like it God, soccer's such any sport, but soccer, it really teaches you you have to respect, you have to work your ass off, otherwise you'll get your ass kicked.
I've made some friends recently that are new to the sport, and they've fallen in love with the sport off the pitch too, where they're watching it and I've told them, like, you don't just have great games every time. And I know that applies to all sports, but you look at Messi's newest career at PSG, he ain't doing shit over there. And I know he's putting his assist in this, but like, it's hard. And no matter how good you may feel, as soon as that whistle blows and with those butterflies and your first fuck up, you gotta, like you said, confidence is key.
You gotta keep going.
That's why that game was a great way. We're done for like a month or two.
Yeah, which I'm a little annoyed with Palm Coast too.
I know, dude.
At the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. See, they don't understand that what Gavin has done for flaglersoccer.com, what he's been doing has been so damn hard.
I know.
And it's just like, oh, sorry, you don't got fields today. Oh, sorry, you don't have this. And there's no backup plan. There's no indoor facility, which is something that I'm passionate about, and I would love to build one. Just don't have millions of dollars that it take. Actually, I met with a developer though, and he was interested. Something to where.
Like Eddie Johnson has his like indoor
just literally you need a full size field that's covered to where when you do have those situations,
right? Weather
hey, Palm Coast, you can go here, you can go here, but they're killing his business and they don't understand that. Look, for a whole month now, when there were supposed to be at least 3 more games,
they're saying maybe January too.
They don't understand that they're killing a business and there's no additional. It's just like, hey, sorry, well, do you have a backup field? Do you have another option? Right. If they're like, look, we're doing some maintenance, but just. And when I'm
done playing, I'm going to build on US 1 a facility.
God bless.
I talked to Jimmy about today.
I want to right here across from Wadsworth.
No, we don't have the space.
No, across from Wadsworth.
Oh, across from Wadsworth.
Yeah, there's. Oh, you're
talking about like the CVS?
No, other side. So be north side of 100. Even that whole Colbert area. Look,
that's going to be some premium cash though.
Well, because you got to think though, people don't want more housing, right? No. And because on the tourism board too, I get to see all the numbers. Right. All right, so everyone goes crazy for more housing. We're trying not to grow as fast, so we have so much other space to grow. So on the north end of Palm Coast, across from US 1, they're talking about new high schools, possibly talking about all this other stuff, which is great. But I'm like, man, tourism money. So much money can be made from sports complexes, and people come in for the weekend and then
tournaments, the whole thing. Right? Yeah, you're right.
And it brings in a lot of money that's going to help with the beach nourishment. Tourism money brings in so much, and it doesn't come from taxpayer money. That's the best part about it. And the more we can push for that, the better. So what do you need for that though? You need a real complex, and you need more hotels, which right there by 95. Look, we have 2 of them right there. 2 more probably won't hurt. That way you have. That way you have less residential. I don't feel like we need as much density. I feel like Flagler Beach is pretty much built up.
Yeah, we're stacked.
And then even across that too, instead of putting these massive residential, these developers though, they have the land, they have the rights to do it. So regardless of how much people fight,
it's gonna happen.
All it does is slow down the process.
Right.
And I'm like, and it pisses off the developers. So instead of them being on our side, they're like, you know what, F you, I'm going to try to make more money. But when I had these conversations with them, again, I put myself in their shoes,
right?
And I have to understand that they're a massive corporation too, and they have to have profit to the bottom line. But they're willing to give up and donate so much land, time, and money to truly help the community, because the better the community does, the more valuable their homes are too. And being able to have those conversations. But the problem is you have news agencies that will go through and they just will put some kind of fear.
You're not moving, are you?
Man, Flagler Beach is Flagler Beach. This is my home.
I ain't going anywhere.
Well, again, there's no reason to, right? And it's just,
don't leave me, Johnny.
Why would I leave?
DJ ain't gonna leave, is he?
No, man, he's just staying here too. He got his best friend up the street. We got such a great.
You guys have a dope little compound over there.
And then you have Adam, chiropractor Adam.
Yeah, he got close to
you. He lives a few blocks away. I wish
you, Tony, DJ,
cousin Johnny now is moving.
Cousin Johnny's over there,
23rd Street. He's remodeling a house.
Taylor's playing soccer with us. She's been coming to pick up, and he came out the other day. I swear, I thought he was gonna play. He looked like he was suited up, and I was like, "You want in?" Because it was pickup. And he's like, "No." I was like, "Oh man, she balls out though.
She's great.
I love her.
She's strong,
very strong."
And then you have who else? Oh, Robbie from Jump for Joy lives on there.
Does he? Oh, Throne.
Yeah,
I love him.
You got a lot of great
That's like
people.
another brother to you guys. You guys are super close. Or is it more Tony?
Yeah,
Is that his?
it's like him and Tony,
You got
man,
him
like me and DJ kind
super,
of thing.
super close.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got a good thing going on over there.
We all grew up together, man, and we all have the same kind of mindset to where, again, we all work hard, we all respect the best way we can.
Robbie doing good?
Yeah, man. Jump for Joy is he does phenomenal.
I love
that. They're doing well and they're growing. They just built a new facility in Bunnell, actually.
Also, like the stores, their shit. Oh, yeah, because that stuff is big.
Yeah, those bounce houses are.
Do you know who built the storage units on Moody?
I don't. I had a guy that told me he was involved.
Dude, they put that's some like Lulgjuraj building. They had that thing up in like 3 days.
It's crazy. I think they were probably working a lot, but they had a little entranceway. Now they opened everything up, which is pretty sneaky, because they tore everything down in the front so you can actually see it. And these buildings, I mean,
bro, I couldn't believe. I mean, I know it's not much infrastructure, but it kind of is. Like, there's a lot of those things are huge.
People make
they made
money
moves
on storage, and a lot of people need storage. Even I look at my house too with
bro,
all my kids.
Tuzak, their dad was right on the money back in the day. They own one in Palm Coast, and it was very smart. It's a wonderful. And right now I don't have things I have to store like boats and stuff, but you can't find a spot to park an RV or a boat.
Oh yeah, especially Palm Coast, they don't allow you to park.
Yeah, exactly.
Too. Parking.
A lot of those businesses, they have to keep their their HVAC vans
and stuff like that, which. I don't know. Property rights to me is another spiel that one day we'll get into. I feel like when you buy a piece of property, I feel like you never own it. You never, we pay ridiculous amounts of money in taxes, and it's just like it's tough because when you try to improve your house, well, you have to go through these boards. And at Oceanside, we had a very big problem when we first opened. We had two people in the city that didn't like each other, and because he tried to screw this one over. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that Oceanside got screwed over, and it was to the point to where we almost wanted to sue the city because it's like, hey, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
You're saying you gave me a license to open, but then we can't do anything else because we don't have enough parking when no one else has any parking at all in town. It's just like when they want to pick at you. Yeah. I mean, and it was disgraceful at that time. And that's when, God, I was only 25 when I was like, you know what? I'm going to run for commissioner now. Now you guys want to play games? Right. I'm going to run for commissioner because what you're doing is wrong. And not saying I was going to be better than anyone else, but I was just like, you're doing this and you are making personal, you have personal vendettas. And the thing is, it's costing so much money. And a lot of these people in elected positions, they don't understand that by them dragging their feet, literally people lose everything. Mm-hmm. We got people that purchase restaurants in town too, and they're working their ass off to try to get the business open, but now they have to go through the review on the power board, and then they can read those bylaws however they want to interpret them, and they can just halt projects, they can slow them down, or it takes 3 and 4 months, and it's just like, what the hell is going on? We need to be efficient, right? Because every day it costs money. And I'm in Volusia right now at the new location, and I'll tell you what, I say they're dragging their feet, everyone's short staffed, but I lose thousands and thousands. It literally is almost $10,000 a month just in interest now I have to pay with that massive location or the massive purchase that we did. And it's like, people are like, oh, well, you're going to make it back. I'm like, yeah, but you're telling me I have to work another 5 years just to make this money back because you are dragging your feet or because you have this. Where's the incentive? And it's a tough position that everyone's in. And that's why I said I never like just to blame or point fingers. Because it's everyone has to work together, but when these people are in powerful positions, and I just can't stand when they use it in the wrong way, or they're just like, I'm on my pedestal, I don't care. It's your problem, it's not mine. It's like, hey, you got elected because you're supposed to want to help people, and that's what it's like. Why else do you want to run? Why else are you getting in a position to where you're elected? Mm-hmm. I mean, people are putting their trust in you. And it drives me crazy. If I supported a candidate, which Oceanside we never do, we're like Switzerland. Like, look, at the end of the day, we don't get involved in the politics. Personally, though, if we have a one-on-one conversation, I like you, then, well, hey, okay, I'll write a check and I'll try to help you with campaigning or this and that. But for the most part, I don't like being lied to. And when I talk to a commissioner, and I look at the city and the county side too, I had these two commissioners that, they were having issues with each other. And I called them both. I'm like, guys, stop fighting. What the hell are you fighting for? Hey, well, one's on this side, one's on this side. But who gives a shit? Why are we fighting? Because when you fight, I literally had conversations with our congressmen that had dropped or, maybe give me a little insight saying, well, I don't like dealing with Flagler too much. And I'm like, what? Why? And it's just like, well, I see them all the time. They're bickering, they're complaining, and Flagler Beach is just always like this, where we're trying to protect ourselves. And look, at the end of the day, we get so much more done when we're united. You see, even with the water that's going on, we're doing this massive restructuring or rebuilding for our water plants. Well, Bunnell and Palm Coast, they both need new treatment facilities. I'm like, man, if we all work together, now we get this massive grant from the feds or the state because we're coming together on it.
Right.
So there's so much more money involved. But when you have people that constantly battle each other, no one wants to work with each other. I'm like, when you're an elected official, your literal job is to bring people together and do what's right for the people that have elected you. Right. And unfortunately, there are people that are really right or really left, but hey, they're not supposed to be that really right or really left candidate all the time. No, you represent everybody in the county, everybody in the city, regardless if they're red, white, or blue. And it's just like, they have to be bigger and better. And I'm kind of over this nitpicking and bickering at each other. And, these articles that come out constantly attack, depending on what their influences are. And I'm like, I feel like so many people should be able to see through a lot of this stuff. And let's hope and pray for the best, and let's work together. And we get so much more done that way. And that goodness affects everybody, man. And that's why I'm like, why can't we just sit at a table and have a conversation? Look, I called you an asshole. You called me an asshole, right. But what's the real issues? And let's get down to it. Okay, well, the city needs this. The county needs this. How do we come together? And that's what my biggest advocacy moving forward is continue uniting. Starry Nights is that event that's supposed to bring everyone together. Right. It's supposed to create that positivity. And I'll tell you what, just driving around, looking at beautiful Christmas lights, it brings that inner child out of you to where, look, when you're a child, you don't hate nobody. You love everybody that gives you attention. And, it's such a wonderful thing. And I'm hoping, and that was one of the main reasons why we started Starry Nights, is because it brings positivity to our area. Right. And it does help in the slowest time of year for economic growth, which, hey, businesses, we suffer when it's cold outside. You don't see anyone eating at Oceanside or Tortugas or Beachfront or any of these other places that have outside dining. No, they're inside. And you know what? The majority of our businesses now, we focus on the outside because that's why people come. They come to Flagler Beach because they want to see the beach. And that's the whole county. You look at 80% of the traffic is because the beach. It's not because Palm Coast Town Center is beautiful or, the Veterans Park. No, they come because they want to see that beautiful, pristine ocean that we have.
Yep. You have anything else that you wanted to tackle?
No, I mean, for the most part, Starry Nights is where it's at. And I'm hoping that everyone talk to their neighbors. And if you guys are out there, just help the best you can, knock on people's doors.
So Friday is the lighting.
Yep.
And you're going to do the pier and
first Friday, 5:30, they're going to cut the breaker on to the Veterans Park display that they have out there.
Okay.
So the number of trees, you have these massive 5-foot stars that are all over the place. The lifeguard stands, deck the chairs is the event. That's what it's called. You're going to see 8 different chairs up there that are all going to be decorated. We got a really cool one at Oceanside, but I'm not going to reveal it yet. You're going to have to come see it. And then 6 p.m. on the dot, they're going to cut the breaker or turn the breaker on for the pier. And that's the start of it. So from that point, we're just asking everyone, hey, get your lights up. If you need help, ask. And for 2 months, you're going to have these beautiful displays and decorations up. We tend to pull them sometime mid to end January, just kind of depends where everyone's at and that kind of thing. But it's a great idea.
I love that you were one of the few that spearheaded it, man.
Yeah. I mean, our business bureau and the TDC, I mean, Amy Lukasic has just been great because
she's a sweetheart.
She listens and she also responds. And I'll tell you one story about Amy. I'll never forget it. It's busy. The restaurant, I think it's 2019 probably. And it was after Hurricane. Yeah, it was after Hurricane Matthew. And she was like, I see this lady and she looked like a salesperson.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like in the kitchen. I'm like sweating. And I'm like,
right.
It's Johnny. And it's like, Johnny, this lady's out here waiting for you. And she's like, I don't know, from tourism, something about magazine. And I'm like, I walk up to her and right away I'm just like, hey, how's everything going? I'm like, hey, I'm really busy right now. And like, I was blowing her off.
Yeah.
And she goes, hey, I need your attention for a second. And she got a little loud with me. I'm like, don't talk to me this way. What are you talking to me this way? I'm the owner of a business, lady. And you're going to sell me. She goes, I'm Amy Lukasik. I'm from the tourism office. I'm spending thousands of dollars to market your business and flag the beach restaurants. Can I have 2 minutes of your time? I'm not selling you anything. And I was just like,
sorry.
I'm like, oh my God.
I'll be right with you.
But you know what? She was respectful.
Yeah.
She was direct, and she got the job done. And ever since then, it's just like,
does she live here?
Palm Coast, I think.
Okay. She's a fierce. I like her.
You know what? She's just real, and that's the best way to put it. And God bless her for it, because that's what we needed. Whatever happened tourism office before and the chambers and all that stuff before, Amy has done a very good job representing us well. And you know what? She looks at data, she looks at numbers, and she doesn't play favorites. It's hey, because if I ask her for something, even though I'm one of the board members, she don't always tell me yes.
Right.
She goes, hey, let's ask questions, let's figure it out. But again, I'm the kind of person to where I find a way to get shit done. So I'm proposing ideas and proposing solutions with the ideas, and we find ways to make it work. And Starry Nights is one of those things to where I'm like, when people finally get the memo of like what Starry Nights is about, it's just like, look, it's a wonderful thing. And it's not, and everyone talks about just driving business. I'm like, no, I don't want to go to St. Augustine to take my kids somewhere. We have this municipal pier, we have this wonderful little downtown area, but we had this stretch of A1A that's unobstructed beach view that you don't get anywhere else in the state, barely
in the world.
And I'm like, look, we have this. Why don't we just do it upright to where we should be proud and happy and show who we are? And how do you do that? Shit, by throwing some Christmas lights up and just being outside and drinking some hot cocoa as people are driving by and waving. And I wave to everybody when they're walking, and they're probably like, who's this weirdo on this?
I always forget if it's you or your brother. Now, you have the same truck?
Yeah, we have the same truck. But my golf cart now that's my number one thing. I'm just like,
you have a new one, a newer one, or a different one?
I got it's my only golf cart. Tony had one for a number of years, but I just got my own.
Is it Oceanside decked out, or
no,
is it
it's not. I got one sticker on there, but for the most part, it's a 6-seater, because everyone's like, oh, you got this Mac Daddy limousine over here. I said, well, I have 3 kids and a wife. Sorry, I need a bigger golf cart.
I think I saw it was over the summer. I saw Tony, and I think he had your boys.
Yeah, probably.
And it was hilarious, just like climbing all over them, and it was hilarious.
He is an amazing.
Did you get rid of your little scooter thing? You gave it to your
I was out of town, and one of my employees needed it, so Tony just sold it. He goes,
I get all excited when I go and I see it. I'm like, he's not here. Because it was my way.
It's funny because I told my wife. So I had a very short stint after. I've been in the business for 5 years. We had a work van, and me and Tony, we literally sold everything to get Oceanside going. And finally, at like the 5 or 6 year mark, I was like, all right, well, hey, more expenses and this and that. And I was able to lease a Maserati, and it was a new one that came out. But
I remember that.
It's not the $250,000 Maserati. No, it was
right. More as expensive people think.
And it was like 70, but it was a lease. So it was a short lease, and so that's when I met my wife when I had a Maserati. After we got married, however, I went from Maserati to a moped, and I'm like, when I had my first kid, and I was just like, sorry, I tricked you.
Right. Gotcha.
But it was a fun time to be able to see that. But that's just not. Listen, sports cars, having nice things, it's all great at the end of the day, but I'm such a simple.
Well, no, there's nothing wrong. My rhythm on that is that as long as they don't own you. There's nothing right. But look, at beachside, anything pretty is just fun. I love this guy, dude. He's a great Italian guy, and he just got the Jeep with the trunk, whatever, the it's like a bed in the Jeep. It's like a truck Jeep. It's like the new thing.
Oh yeah. No, I seen that.
It's all exciting. He's like,
it's like a Rubicon,
dude.
Or something like
and
that.
I love him, but it's already I see him washing. It's like, and I talked to Jimmy about this. Everything out here is just
I lease because
I don't blame him. That's smart.
But even that though too, I got that. Call it Mac Daddy golf cart, but my truck's going back in a few months, and I got one car again, and starting to save up until kids are starting with soccer practice. Now I need to get a soccer van.
Well, listen, I love you very much.
Well, it was a pleasure. I'm sorry I didn't get here earlier, but
no, you're fine. You got Camille dinner, so you're good. If not, she actually, I think, did you already say you were like going to bring food? She got all excited. No. Oh, I think she just assumed. She's like, maybe he'll bring food.
Yeah. Well, I told her at soccer, I'm like, hey, if you guys want anything, she goes, well, I'm going to make you some coffee. How do you like it? And I'm like, black and strong. And sure enough, that was that.
You're one of the few of the black and strong. Usually everyone wants the creams, the sugars, and.
Well, my dad got diabetes, and he used to have so much sugar and cream in his coffees growing up. So he is one great thing. He's like, listen, if you want to drink it, just drink it.
That's how I drink it.
And now that's what I do. And you know what? It is a wonderful, wonderful thing not to be relied on. But then again, I love having that little coffee in the morning. And
well, she made a nice one for you.
I'll tell you what, that was so smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And now, Camille, I might just come over here and be like, hey, can I get a coffee?
Open up our own coffee shop.
You can.
Well, listen, I love you very much.
Your story, my table.
You know,
I'm glad I was here, and thank you for what you do. And you've had some magnificent people here, and I'm just glad to be part of your roster.
Well, I love you very much. We'll do it again soon. Let me get these. Oh, Jerry called me. I love you, Jerry. Bro. Oh, we went for 2, brother. Ski boot. Well,